All right, we're gonna try to tackle this week. It's gonna be stupid.
What's the deal with E3?
Yeah, we have a heroic dose of coverage of things. It's big. It's a big mountain of stuff.
I didn't even cover like 4 events over the weekend, and apparently, thank God, I didn't watch the PC Games show, because apparently that was like one of the worst things ever, except for the New Blood part.
Oh
Thank you, man.
Jesus! I don't even think I grabbed anything from that on the docket.
Yeah,
To be perfectly honest.
there was New Blood stuff.
Yeah.
But we could just hit up Dave Austria on his Twitter, and he'll just be like, "I did it."
Yeah, so it's the ending of the second quarter, so it's the perfect time to try to drum up some excitement as game industry goes into its turnaround quarters. Much like a halftime show, you got to get big excitement going before you enter the second half of the year. So yeah, not E3 can happen, but first things first, I would like to know how you felt about Rumbleverse.
I was literally looking at a list of things, and the only thing I really wanted to talk about my week was Rumbleverse. Hey, that really just feels like Anarchy Reigns, like
That's
a
a
lot.
good thing. That's a good thing.
Like it just feels like a toned down Anarchy Reigns where you run around and grab things.
Yes,
Um,
but not as cool looking.
No, but wrestling's a good aesthetic.
Did you feel it?
Yeah, I felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's totally the idea that we had. Like exactly the idea that we had.
Did you do the grab off the building?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the sell point.
Yeah, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. I feel it. That's. I was also a little weirded out that I could make myself so easily in the character creator. I just pick the big fat guy and then put the red on it, and it's like bam, done.
Mm-hmm.
I had some netcode hiccups, which I assume they'll fix up that by release. But yeah, no, it's really good. And I had the moment, which I didn't win anything, but I had the nice feeling of like smoking people on the outer corners.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got to the 4 or 5 killers on the inside, I'm like, oh, there's clearly a fucking skill ceiling on this, because I'm getting trounced once I head to that center.
It felt like you have that survival, battle royale familiarity, but like you get to that top 8 and there's really 7 killers waiting for you.
Oh yeah, they're beating your fucking ass,
and you got to be really fucking solid on your fundamentals to make it through. I
will say one of the things the game has, which is fairly intense, is like getting third partied in that game is vicious.
Oh yeah, when you're dueling and then someone just fucking stomps in from the side,
runs in and hits me with a super from behind me, and then just kills the guy I was fighting in 1 second.
Mm-hmm. And then you have some big decisions to make, whether to spend that meter or to hold it for the revive.
Yeah. No, it's good.
I like the idea of that being something in the background to kill time with while other things are happening.
Hey, what you want to play Rumble? Yeah, we'll play Rumbleverse. Yeah, why not?
Right? Because it's just like, hey, it's like jumping into a Fortnite or jumping into a Fall Guys, except the things you're doing are way more fun and cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much time you got in, but like
I got in about 3-4 hours.
Okay, so like the areas that you start on, like there's a lot of there's a huge difference to a game that starts where you're on top of the statue making your way down versus
Yeah.
one where you're just like in the park and it's like you can see everybody right away, you know. I mean, I like that thing, you know. I don't know what, if anything, changed between last time and this time, but you know, assuming they just made like you know, slight improvements here and there, all I want to see is just better body art styles, aesthetic things, and keep those move lists coming, you know, like guns. Super cool.
Oh, I completely misunderstood. I'm like, why would they put guns in it? Like, no, you mean like adding them as like guns.
Adding them like guns.
Well, luckily there's roughly a fucking shit zillion wrestling moves to choose from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Super kick off the top of the roof, all the way down. Free win on that. Yeah, man. No, it feels solid.
It feels very promising. I have to say, with multiverses and this coming out, free to play melee combat is looking really hot this summer.
So I was between that and, I mean, to jump ahead a little bit to Overwatch 2, I'm looking at I'm looking at this, like, the free-to-play thing as, like, you know, we've been talking about it in the context of fighting games, but, like, really, there's a high likelihood that, like, the biggest triple A's, you know, that are multiplayer hits going forward are gonna be, like, 50% free-to-play, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, it's been like that for a while, just not on the platform that you and I actually spend a lot of our time on, which is the telephone.
No, for sure. And it's obvious, and like the amount of space that is taken up by the existing massive free-to-play games, like, you know, all the Riot things and all the Epic games and, you know, all that shit, like, it's the amount of space it takes up is already well above that 50%, I'm sure, if anything. But I guess
infiltrating even our children.
To refine the point, you're gonna see it not just in these large titles, but like with a number of smaller companies probably offering up, trying to take a stab at free to play with, like, here's our, you know, here's what we can do, are you interested in, in a console context, you know, with the things we're describing, like these two games.
It's gonna be interesting. Come on, Street Fighter! Come on! Come on! You can do it! Come on!
It's also gonna be very difficult to not say Rumble versus and multiverse, and it's gonna be a problem. Multi-Rumble.
Don't just play this. No. You know what? It's not going to be a problem because Multiversus is going to be like 100 times more popular than Rumbleverse.
Yes, but I'm just like, okay, just Warner Smash, you know, like, because I've made the mistake already a couple times.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So that was cool. And was that was open, right?
That was open.
Okay, so other people got it.
I believe you had to sign up for it.
Okay.
So, like, you went to the website and said, download it to my PlayStation, and then you would do so.
Well, whenever that comes back around, yeah, very much.
I keep getting, like, legit confused. When is Rumbleverse come out? Hopefully around June 2022. Oh, that's not accurate.
And now there's not I wouldn't bet on my life, but, like, I could see something really awesome happening if they managed to convince McMahon to sign a guest spot deal, and then he'd never do it. He'd never do it.
He'd never do it.
He'd never, like they would have been in Fortnite already, if anything, you know?
He would never.
No. But if that type of thing happened, it would be so cool. Maybe instead they should reach out to Dario.
Maybe.
You know, and see if you can get some, or even New Japan, right? If Jabali can work with New Japan and get some shit going, I'm sure Rumbleverse could as well. And just gets a couple of real wrestlers in there and, like, some fun crossovers and an excuse to have some better aesthetics. I think that'd be great. AEW, certainly. I hope that that would be cool. But I feel like they're focused on getting their own game out. The Aki Engine Ukes thing that they're working on.
Is that real?
They sat the man down at Ukes and he said, "Hey, I'm the guy, and we're making it." It may or may not have been at like SharePoint. They might have been threatening him off screen, but
I don't know, man.
They say it's happening. I'm ready to believe in the dream of the Aki engine again. So I'm on the hopium mask right now.
I'm a little short on hopium after some of the announcements we dealt with this week, but we'll get into that later.
Certainly.
All right, that was my week. I played Rumbleverse. It's good. You want to see more of my crap? I'm not doing a big stream week this week. I'm just going to do iSomnium Files on Friday. Go down to twitch.tv/PatStairs at a Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time.
There we go.
You'll see that. I also played The Quarry with Paige. The Quarry is good, but it's not as good as Until Dawn. That's my review.
Okay. Well, that's on the docket too, so I mean it'll come back around with the drops, but yeah. I not much to say. Punch Mom and I enjoyed some time off and lot to get into, so like good times, but yeah. Pretty much just heads up that this week is also going to be light on the recording. We're going to have a Mass Effect day tomorrow. And that's gonna be it for the week. So, I'll post a schedule on my Twitter again. But yeah, no, pretty much like it's gonna be a little hectic in the summer. I'll be in and out here and there. I think yeah, we're gonna have Mass Effect, and then like. Next podcast as well is going to be a Tuesday one. I mentioned to you, but
I asked people to remind me of this earlier in the week because I played some BioShock 2, and I figured you'd get a kick out of it. When I started up BioShock 2 in the BioShock collection, I went to save the game, and it told me to fuck off because the application data was completely full because I had BioShock 1 files that still existed in the other game in the collection.
Wow.
So I had to wait till I hit an autosave. Then I went to go to the save menu to delete it on the system level, but on the system level, it's just one big save file that says BioShock Collection. So I had to load up BioShock 1 and go and manually delete all of them before it let me save in BioShock 2.
So that's stupid, but it is unfortunately allowed to let you do that. That is considered okay. As long as it tells you what it's doing, that's not a problem. It's just dumb.
Mm-hmm. I also found out that BioShock 1 save files are enormous for some reason. They're fucking huge.
Of course.
And you can only delete them from their own save menu. You can't delete them from the load game menu. So I had to go into the game
itself
and go
to do
save
it. Mm-hmm.
and then delete them there.
Yep, nothing illegal, just badly designed. That's the fun of multiple games on the same collection with different types of save files or sharing save files. As long as it tells you what it's doing, it can be as ugly as it wants to be. Or at least that's how it was back then.
And one more thing. Sony gave me that fancy PlayStation Plus, the new fancy one, for free for 3 months. And that's an ad, I guess, hashtag sponsored. It's terrible.
Oh, yeah?
It's legitimately god-awful. Streaming games of it is just as shit as it's ever been. And the list of games available is terrible.
Huh. So, no Game Pass yet, then?
God, no.
Wow.
Costs $150 a year.
Wow.
American. Sponsored.
Hashtag sponsored. Okay. It has also come to my attention. I don't think we discussed it at any point, but I didn't, or before starting Mass Effect, I didn't realize. So yeah, Reggie has not played a cover shooter before. This is his first time.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And Mass Effect's not a good one.
it's certainly not the best. But
No.
we're learning together. So yeah, that's like it's kind of interesting because like that first Artemis Tau a wall with the big Geth, room is like a
Yeah.
hey
The Geth Prime. Yeah.
skill check. Kid, do you get the system? Do you understand what it's asking you to do? And yeah, and he was kind of struggling with it, and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, there's a couple things we have to kind of go over here from like 2 gens ago, and what I kind of eventually landed on is like, okay, let's invent a little mnemonic here, the cache system. So cover, abilities, shoot, and then heal.
Okay.
And like that little sequence of events to just recognize that like you can't just play this like Wolfenstein or Doom. This is not the world of like just running around and kind of just shooting at things until they die and hoping that you can tank as much damage while staying mobile. That's not good enough.
Mass Effect, by the third game, finally achieves the status of the cover shooting is fine, I guess.
Is that where it gets to? Yeah.
That's where it gets.
But you see, I guess the thing with Mass Effect is you have a team and you control what they do, so that makes up for whatever like things you're not able to do.
I said what I said.
Sure. What I don't know is how well it plays when you are in a like squarely support role. You know, can you just be a tech biotic and like rely on the partners?
You have to shoot a gun.
You have to shoot a gun, right? You can't just
your team is too stupid.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, just and that's information too for anybody out there that is like curious or a little confused. It's like no. It's this is new. This is a new thing. So, we'll get him on that bike. We'll take off the training wheels and push. And before you know it, he won't.
And then he starts to lose his balance. You have to tell him not to throw himself from the bike. In terror.
Or don't like reach a stick and put it in the front spoke either.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do that.
Ah, I'm falling. All right.
I did that when I was the one time I went skiing.
Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about? I thought you were referencing that fucking meme on the subreddit.
So I saw that meme, but like, what's the event?
Oh, the event was, we were talking about it yesterday on stream when Paige was learning how to ride her bike. And the instant she would start to tip over, she would just throw herself into the dirt.
Yeah, okay.
Like the instant like she'd start to wobble, she would just bail from the bike entirely.
Okay. So I can't say shit on that because the one time I went skiing and I could not control it because my knees are fucking dumb and they point in the wrong directions. I've explained this before, but the average human being has feet and knees that point it forward. I have knees that point inward at weird fucking 45-degree angles. So that means that the things that
really,
yeah, my knees are in the wrong place. It's very strange, but as a result, it makes certain things easier and certain things harder. So boxing works out easier because the rotation that you put on your feet and your hips and you put in the impact on the punch, perfect. I need that rotation. But when it comes to skiing, you need to point the skis inward to slow down. And when your knees are already doing that, it kind of already wants the skis to point inward, which means going forward at a normal rate is not really easy to do. So 2 and 2 together equals my first time on the mountain was horrible. I couldn't really control myself properly. I couldn't slow down properly. And instead of hitting the trees off the side of the slope, I would throw myself to the ground as a means of survival. And after a few of those, I just sat on my skis and skated down. And as I scooted down, I told the story about my friends going up on the ski lift, seeing me going
Right.
ah! from a distance, and the whole class saw it. So, I know about throwing myself off of the vehicle, or so to say.
I would just crash into shit on my bike. I once crashed into a parked car, but that's because I had this idea that, like, you know, when you start riding your bike and you're not using your hands and you're just like, yeah, I'm cool, I don't even need arms, right? And then I was like, man, I wonder how straight down the street I could go if I closed my eyes. And then I did that for about 5 seconds and then just crashed right into a parked car and ate super shit.
Oh yeah, no. On the bike, I ate tons of shit. I scraped my ribs out to the point where I saw the muscle underneath, like the pink flesh, and then it got all and then it started healing with like yellow crust coming off of it, and I was like, oh, that's weight that like
that's the good healing.
Yeah, that's when the all the real skin came off and got to the meat, you know. So like
I don't want to see the meat.
No, I ate shit on the bike many times, but with skiing, it wasn't about eating shit. It was about literally dying like a Kennedy, because that happens if you
being
don't
shot.
Or smashing into a tree while you're skiing.
Plane crash?
Or smashing into a tree while you're...
Wait, which Kennedy died from a tree?
One of them. The one that died from the skiing accident.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Sonny? There was a Sonny Kennedy? Sonny Bono?
Michael...
Who the fuck's Sonny Bono?
Michael Kennedy died on a skiing accident.
Wait, is that the Cher guy?
Michael Kennedy died on a skiing accident in 1997.
Oh, man.
So, you know. Sure, Sonny
Who put
Bono
that
too.
tree in his way?
But a couple people have died of skiing accidents. So
yeah, I mean, that's true.
All right. Yeah, so I saw that happening, and I saw the trees approaching, and I saw the little pit beforehand and the little, like, orange fence that's not going to stop you. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, I don't know what that's
no,
for.
I'm just going to throw myself on the ground, and that'll be that. Anyway, so, yeah, that happened. All right. Moving on.
Let's do it.
Right off the bat, here we can give time to Street Fighter 6. There's tons of footage now.
Yeah,
there was.
So I have one thing to say about Street Fighter 6. I thought I really didn't like the way it looked. I don't. I actually do like the way it looked when the Guile trailer came out. What I hate is Luke. And I hate Luke so much, and he's in so much of that original trailer, that I was like, man, the game looks bad. Because I look at Luke and I'm like, that looks bad.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, I don't know. Now that I've seen a whole lot of it in action, and, you know, Max was able to go in and get a whole bunch of footage too. And he's got a great video on it. He's got 2 hours solid match footage playing against the devs as well, getting to see the whole system top to bottom. And that's probably some of the best footage you're going to get in 4K, mind you. I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. I see what they're going for. I understand the decisions and the changes. And a lot of the things I had questions about when we were discussing it last, now that I have the answers and all the pieces kind of fit together, I get it. And I admire the gumption of just like, we're doing new shit. I admire that. I think it's cool to be like, yep, you're not going to call this Street Fighter V Part 2 or Street Fighter 4 Part 2 or Third Strike Part 2 or anything. It's doing its own
kind of Third Strike Part 2
but not quite. But not quite. Just because a parry's there is not because it's not the same thing, right? It does have a parry, and it is a parry that will respond instantly, but that's not enough. The way it's used in application is different enough, and the other stuff happening, I look at this and I'm like, no, I can see this being wildly different from every other Street Fighter. In significant ways enough that I say like it's its own thing.
It says a lot to me when they were showing they had some stuff coming out on Twitter about the game that they're like, look at these taunts that are obviously specific to certain characters against other characters. Look how many little details and features and desperate needs to have the game not come out bare bones again we are doing. We promise it'll have a lot of stuff in it.
You know, and again, to like echo what Max was saying in his video, he asked them about that, and when he spoke to the devs, and they apparently said, yeah, we learned from that launch and we don't want to repeat that, you know, so we're doing the opposite this time around. And you know, something that he says there too, which is very possible as well, is that like this what we're looking at could definitely be like it's a honeymoon phase of a fighting game when you just see all the new things and it's novel, but you have to see how it fleshes out in real life. So that's a pretty on point thought as well. But like at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I like the new thing for taking on like its own identity. That's something that is like, okay, cool. There's always definitely a question when as we get closer to this upcoming out, you know, whenever, you know, we fast forward in time from now, a lot of folks are going to start asking, hey, you know what, I think I kind of want to try this, what should I do to get ready for it, or what should I play to, and like at this pace it's like, well, really anything that any Street Fighter game might give you approximately the same amount of familiarity.
I would say that, well, not one,
but anything 2 and up will give you approximately the same amount of familiarity, in that it's like, you know, the same style of fighting game, but like the intricacies are going to be unique in this case, you know. So into the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah, because like if you get too deep into it and you're in SF5 and you're learning so and so, and you're like, oh man, these block strings are tough, and then you go to SF6 and the people can just hit a button that says, I don't want to deal with block strings.
yeah.
I don't want to have to think about that.
So the wildest thing that is happening in this game is the fact that, like, you can call it the drive system, the V system, whatever. What is actually happening is they took the guard meter and turned it into a resource, which never happens. The guard meter is meant to usually just be, you see that, and when it fills up, your guard's going to get broken, or when it fills up, you're going to get stunned, right?
Yeah.
And here they went, what if that becomes your offense and defensive capabilities, and we give you a ton of things you can do, but they all take away from that, you know?
I have to say, it's one of the things that I look at the way people talk about Strive and how Roman canceling is the fucking be-all, end-all, and there's like 8 different Roman cancels, but it also takes your real meter. Yeah. And that kind of sucks. Where in SF6, it's like, no, you have your meter for your supers, because that's what you want to use them on.
Yeah.
And then you have this other meter that is all your other shenanigans.
Now, there's no proof of this whatsoever, but I would be very surprised if they said, or rather, I feel confident that design is thinking about stamina. I bet you
that makes sense.
The concept of stamina and how it's such a thing, especially, you know, in Souls games now, is being thought about when you implement it into this design, because you can't actually take actions that are common and needed and limit them in this game, or rather, not without radically redesigning what a fighting game is here, but you can take key defensive actions and key offensive actions and make those replenishable and or drainable by attacking the person's life and that meter. So
it makes sense, because like they call it exhausted when the bar is empty.
Right. You're in burnout. When the when I saw that and I saw the idea of the replenishing bar, I was like, okay, MK11 did something with the replenishing bar, and you know, if you recall, I was saying like I'm worried about the idea of laming it out and just having a point where you're like, it's not worth taking the risk to fight somebody or something like that. Does not apply now that we've seen some key um, elements about it, some key details, which are that when you block, you lose from that meter, from your drive meter. When you get hit by certain things, you lose drive meter. And when you stand still, it comes back slowly. But when you fight, it comes back way faster. So you are never incentivized to really lame it out because you're going to be in trouble longer than if you were to fight back. You know, that's a really smart thing to do.
Well, it's like, I mean, people have been asking for guard break for a million years because guard break rules and guard break incentivizes getting in there and just beating on somebody until they crack. And this is just guard break times 5.
And then on top of that, now you have this like, you know, if Guilty Gear Strive is letting you out from the wall pressure and rewarding your opponent, Street Fighter is saying, fuck you, you live in the wall, you that is your home now, you die
push
on the wall.
Push them to the wall.
When you get focus attacked on the wall, you basically have to eat a free combo. It's like your guard is opened up. That is a really, nothing as vulnerable as that has ever happened in Street Fighter in terms of the basic system. Defense and blocking usually is like, at worst, you're gonna like, you know, blow that guard meter open after too much of it, or you get thrown. But for the most part, blocking is blocking, you know? And this is the first time something radical like that has happened where it's like, you're in the corner now. It's more than just bad for you because it's harder to avoid mix-ups. You can straight up just open them up, and that's the preferable choice. So you see that happen, and you know that you're on the wall, even if you block their focus attack or the drive rush. Not rush, whatever, I forget what the word is, but I'm going to call it a focus attack. That means you know they want to do that.
Oh, I think it's called a drive impact, but I'm going to call it focus attack.
Yeah. You also know that you are they're going to have to spend resources to do that. You can expect to see it coming. Thus, you can parry it. But
you can also do it back to them.
Exactly. And then you can do it, if you do it second, then you eat that first hit and so on. So it creates, you know, a little interesting like, oh, we're right here. I know very much what you want to do right here. And there's still room for usual corner mix-ups. There's still room for, you know, ambiguous cross-ups and, you know, all kinds of basic like corner pressure. But this one is so rewarding that it's most likely what you're going to see people going for. And so you can, you know, design your whole defensive strategy around expecting it, right? When you're depleted, when you're in burnout, you just can't use any of those mechanics we're discussing. And if you block the impact and then get wall splatted, you go into the stunned completely with the stars state. So like
that's how you get dizzy now. It's not.
That's how you get dizzy.
Not an automatic hidden gauge. It's a concerted effort.
Yeah, that flow of gameplay is so different from anything Street Fighter usually does. That is like, to me, like defining the way the corner plays is drastic. Street Fighter has never done like, you know, like KOF, like different like tag versus, you know, rounds, or like the line system in Real Bout and Fatal Fury. Like
or
it hasn't played.
Splats.
It doesn't play with that stuff. It really just plays with your meter and how you use it, you know. And here that's massive, right? So that's interesting. That's cool. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. The second thing being that parries are back, but different, and the answer they were searching for in 5 by exploring all the different types of parries is they've arrived at the conclusion, and the conclusion is, okay, we need this to serve 3 functions essentially. We need parries to, first and foremost, make anybody who knows what they used to be like in Third Strike enjoy that feeling.
Yay.
Right? Enjoy the like, I'm in your fucking head, I called you out, and now you're going to pay for that. Don't be predictable, right? So the full parry that comes out immediately and has a 3-frame active window is like, this is for you, Third Strike players, right? This is for you. You're going to get
feels
big
like the
rewards
good old
off of this.
days.
Mm-hmm. That is, at high level, it's going to happen constantly, and it's going to get nuts. But that's a implementation that is meant to appease people looking for that old feeling. The reason why parries in Street Fighter V didn't feel as good is because you couldn't
they have
do them.
startup for fuck's sake.
They had startup, exactly. You had to do them even earlier than the hard call out you'd expect from, like, again, Third Strike speeds. So that makes all the difference in the world. And
it went from good read to like legitimate telepathy.
Yes. However, the other thing is, in addition to having startup, they had cooldown. They had a missed animation for whiffing it, which Third Strike didn't, because you just tapped forward, right? So now, while having the instantaneous payoff for the reward, you have the, I fucked up, now you have to deal with it, oh shit, I'm vulnerable animation. And it lasts long enough that you can get thrown or hit. And if you do, you take you're in a punish counter state, which is essentially a new thing that's like, it's not a counter hit, but it's the equivalent of where a crush counter used to be. Mm-hmm. Where you're now going to be like really vulnerable for bigger, heavier damaging combos. So high risk, high reward. Old school fans that wanted that feeling of like good reads now land it, but when you fuck up, you're gonna eat it.
And then for the Guilty Gear players, hey, look, do you like faultless defense?
It's FD at the same time. Hold the button down, and now you have something that's taking away from your resource instead of your life. And the fact that you can hold parry state and it just keeps going is like, oh, that's not a parry at all. That's no timing required. It's just eating all the things you're doing. And it's like, yeah, that gives you FD from Guilty Gear, and it does the other thing, which Street Fighter V wanted to do, which is, okay, fireballs are here. A lot of beginners find fireballs really annoying to deal with, and zoning is tough. So they gave everyone like V skills that can more or less deal with them. Now it's like, no, the whole cast can just stand there and parry that. But in exchange, fireballs can be insanely fast again. Yeah. In that Guile trailer, there's one like combo he does where you see a sonic boom that is like ridiculous speeds. Like, it
looks like an EX sonic boom.
Almost, yeah. Like And so I'm wondering, what is an EX sonic boom going to be like nigh unreactable at mid range? Crazy speeds. So that's the trade-off, is fireballs can be stronger again, but you can have a button that you hold that is like, fuck off, I don't want to deal with your zoning, And then, of course, that replenishes your guard meter, but you also still have the cooldown on the end of it. So you can't just go straight from a, like, holding the button down parry that's like a badly timed parry into whatever kind of response you want. In fact, if you were to like block or parry something with a slower parry and then try to respond, you might completely miss the opportunity to punish them, So that's there so like the first 3 frames are for Third Strike players, and then frames 4 through infinity are for new players and 5 players, essentially. And they just kind of put it all together.
Especially when you parry it correctly and all of a sudden the game goes fucking basically freeze frame and like, okay, take a breath, do the thing that you want to do.
Yeah, so all that really does is I mean, again, old Third Strike players will be like, oh, I got my parry, I can interrupt the animation and do what I want. But for newer players, it's going to be like, yep, here's the time to get anything you want started, and you're going to punish what you parried, So that's a reasonable compromise to letting one feature or one defensive function address all the different crowds that are here, you know? Those two buttons, the two medium buttons together, they serve all these functions, and people are going to use them as comfortably as they want to, and that's a smart design, you know? And because it's so easy to do, like the ebb and flow of like, oh shit, I'm running low on drive gauge, better start parrying more often. Ah, he's running low on drive gauge, he's going to start parrying more often. Let me throw that fucker. You know? So that's coherent now, you know? I get it. I couldn't tell that from the initial footage, but I can see that's a smart thing. I also like that, of course, because you're designing everything around this, you get to just spend that super bar on supers and
the things that you actually want to spend them on.
The big cool shit, you know? And the thing that feels good that people want to do, which is do a simple confirm into some normals, right? Get a nice little combo going, cancel into an EX. Now the EX costs drive, so that full level 3 is ready to spend on a nice big finish. Feels good. You know, put it all together.
I've been playing fighting games on and off. I've been on a long break now, but like since I was a kid, and like one of the scrubbiest fucking mentalities I have never in my life been able to break is I fucking hate EX moves in their entirety, because it means I won't be able to do the big cool super later. Like, yeah, I could actually be a lot safer and a lot better in 10 different situations with an EX move, but that means I won't get the big level 3 at the end.
Right. Competitive utility would be that, like, you're burning resources on things that don't matter when you should be saving it for the things that do, you know?
And then I sit on the level 3 for like half a round, and I actually have like a full bar of completely wasted meter.
Yeah, and that's not just about the feeling as well. It also creates massive design decisions when your character relies on those resources. For example, most people played Street Fighter V making use of the V system offensively and defensively as needed to turn the round back in their favor if they were getting pressured, or if you got a nice opening going. As an Akali player, fuck you. I'm almost never using V reversal.
Yeah, why would you ever? You want the good Akali.
I need my activation as early as possible. You know. So yeah, this kind of like addresses that and just dedicates your full super meter to the good shit. And the things that you can do without spending the full meter are still nice. Like it'll be, your install, your level 2s. And what's fun too is little bit of a 25% before you die, you get a critical art. You get an even shinier, fancier, bigger damaging ultra, So that's
is it weird to you when you look at like Jamie, for example, and you look into him and he did you prefer Yun or Yang?
I always preferred Yang.
Okay, me too. But they've combined that with Hakan with Nikali. And I'm like, oh, I guess that's
all together.
I have to play him now.
And he's awesome once he gets drunk. So
yeah, like
have fun with that.
Design substantially improves once he's drunk.
Yeah. And then the seeing the critical art as well with the fucking the neck break. And like they line up and do like sticky hands, which is like a kung fu training thing where you line up your two hands together like that. That shit looks so nice, Yeah,
but at the same time, there's always a fun thing where like Ryu is the one doing it, and Ryu like throws out like the shittiest left hand ever because the opponent always has to do the same thing.
Yes, yeah. But no, and then on that note, like seeing the aesthetics that come around from character select screen to matchup versus screen. That shit's that hits, man. It is absolutely street. And like, I can just see like for years to come, everyone just being like, yeah, started from the bottom. Now I'll never look back. Like we're going to just get into that. Like that'll be the new, like, let's get it on now. Yeah, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it's immediately got a strong identity. And And like I hope there's tons and tons of lines in that little like very quick look, player 1, look at player 2, make your stupid faces, let's go. Hit the rematch button, super quick intros, let's go. You know, stylish and so brief by comparison to the hyper elaborate stuff, because Street Fighter 4 felt like, okay guys, we've committed to 3D and we're going to do all the big intros and show off all the 3D, and you know, the answer lies in the heart of battle, you know,
which is fun for the first 5 times per character.
And then you couldn't mash faster after that. And here it's like one line, bam. I love the stylishness of Mankind knew that they could not change society.
Yeah,
like that is something that is super stylish and fun, and you're gonna want to watch that every once in a while. But for the most part, you know, you're like, I'm willing to take a minute right now, but you're skipping that shit. Here, it is so brief and quick. So all of that looks great and feels great.
And importantly, when asked by numerous different people and sources, it will have full crossplay, and it will use the rollback, but it won't use SF5's rollback. It will be a new and improved rollback, which, okay, great.
Should
Good.
be up for discussion.
Fine. Moving on. Yeah, it shouldn't be, and it's not a discussion, but like people kept asking, like, no, is it? And like, give us a goddamn answer. It's like when we talk about fucking Starfield later, like the question everyone had is like, show us you talking to a character in a dialogue. Why isn't that in the trailer? That's the only thing people really want to know.
So the other things too is just looking over some of that move list, like a willingness to have just an obscene amount of command normals Chun-Li and Jamie can do at certain points, you know? Really extensive stuff, because I guess it's just like, look, we're splitting the difference here. You can go modern mode or you can go classic. If you're going classic, holy shit, you've got button options. And that is, again, like, that seems cool. You know, Chun-Li is one of those characters that gets reinvented every single time she shows up. But, you know, here it seems like you're getting the best of all worlds, especially having the up kicks and stuff. And yeah, I like seeing how, okay, there's a point where you know what the optimal combo or punish is going to be. And what it looks like here is it's going to be something to the effect of like, perfect parry, hard punch, forward, FADC, hard punch again, link into like a medium, EX, level 3, right?
Yeah.
And that'll
we're going to have EXs in the level 3s because of the way this works now.
Absolutely. What you cannot do is regular Hadoken into super, right? You can only do EXs, it seems, because they specifically want you to spend a resource for that level of flourish. Otherwise, you know, it's got to be clean. And so that seems like it'll be like the optimal kind of punishes we'll start seeing. And that rhythm also is like, if you're someone that only came in at Street Fighter V, that initial like hard punch or hard kick and then forward is going to read exactly like a crush counter dash forward would read, you know?
Yeah.
So
and like a really easy FADC.
Yep, exactly. So that's familiar to the 5 players. And then, of course, the drive impact, which is such a big part of the game, the big focus attack, as we described. If you're a 4 player, you already know what you're getting. So, you know, like I can see just the little bits and pieces where it's like, okay, you know this is going to be kind of similar to that. And yeah, that's that flow that revolves around just like, the more I pressure you, the more I take away from, you know, your stamina, your guard meter, your resources, your ability to do EXs, your ability to parry, all of that. I'm taking away from that away from you as I pressure you. That's different, you know? So Street Fighter 6, very, very excited by that design change. I think that's
promising.
Really cool. Definitely. Guile they just showed off the trailer for Guile, and they're gonna have like just frame sonic booms. So if you charge like perfectly and release, you'll be able to do his old like sonic boom strings. So seems like they're willing to go, you know, variable with things like that as well. Like, you want to play normal Guile and do the things he's always done, that's fine. But if you've got perfect timing, you can get even more out of the character. All right, they're lifting this. They're lifting the ceiling. They're you know, the floor is lowered. They're opening it up. Let's see how this goes when it comes to, you know, some of the more advanced characters. Like, I would like to see a world where like a character like Minot shows up and you go, oh my god, that is insanely scary and intimidating, but there is still a functional version of her that you can use effectively, even if you can't do the crazy shit, you know?
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at like the ability of having some form of faultless defense makes me feel a lot more comfortable looking at a character that's like Minot, where I get crossed up. I don't, the ball and the fucking just like, right, and like I'll gladly blow a resource to be like, no, let me just not think about this. Let me just turn this off for like a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever, crush it. It's fine.
There will be like the term "take the throw" is now going to be more applicable than ever, because it's like, you know, there's some situations where like there's such an insane mix-up happening where a character can blow you up in a lot of ways and you eat a lot of damage, where it's better off to just block everything and get thrown, and like holding focus and then just be like, I don't want to get mixed up here, just throw me. Like, it feels like it might happen more often with this system.
I am eager to play a game in which people are holding a button down to parry and Geef has his fucking light punch fucking SPD range.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Yep. Or button and then FADC and then SPD range.
Fab. Yeah.
So I guess the only question is just going to be like, all right, well, let's see what kind of damage we're talking about. Let's see what kind of, you know, speeds and zoning abilities we're talking about, because you're going to have that with Geef, but you're going to be dealing with the fastest sonic booms in the fucking world.
Yeah, I saw.
You know, so
I have to say, I just want, for Street Fighter in general, I have accidentally given myself a form of brain rot in that I am like, I feel very weird talking about Zangief's green hand or SPD, because like my brain just auto shifts to my actual dog.
Oh, yeah.
In particular, I am reminded of a comment I saw a few days ago where that cat has Zangief's face on it. And one guy was like, I feel like I have brain damage because I just spent 10 minutes looking for that stupid dog.
And even Geef for short doesn't help.
No, because that's what I call him most of the time. I do call him Boopus, though. I don't think Zangief in the game is going to be nicknamed Boopus.
Not likely.
I mean, he could be.
But yeah. That I'm definitely looking forward to, are they going to give Blanca the goddamn electric ball finally? The CVS to just electric rolling ball. Just will he
just straight
the straight fuck you ball. Will you ever give it back? I know it was too good.
Nah.
Build around it. You know.
Nah.
Give it back and build around it. Cause
I don't know.
Giving
Guile like just frame sonic booms that are the fastest thing that's ever been makes me feel like old characters are going to come back a lot less like themselves than we're used to.
Or more like they'll be themselves, and then there'll be another system on top of them. the core is there, but then there's other shit going on.
Like, did you know you can build up electricity stacks on your opponent as Blanca?
Right, exactly, you know? Or, like, put little, like, fucking lightning traps down on the ground or some weird shit. And then hop on them, and who the fuck knows, you know? Yeah. Cool. Street Fighter 6, with more footage and system explanation. Yeah, optimistic.
It's gonna be really silly watching them go, we're gonna announce a new character on Friday, and everyone's like, oh cool. I wonder who it could be.
Yeah, I mean, it's still always exciting to see them in action, but exactly, like, the entire wad is
it's just silly. It's just silly.
The entire wad is blown, you know.
I'm pretty convinced that's why they were showing off so many of these ancillary features lately, like the taunts and the screen. And
now, World Tour is the biggest mystery in the game.
Yeah, until next week when the whole thing leaks out.
So they did say at the end of the Capcom presentation there will be one more announcement before the end of the year, and you know it's going to be at the end of EVO, so, you know,
yeah,
like, expect that to come in August. Yeah.
That makes sense.
When it's all said and done, they gonna call me a legend.
Yo, the music video for the song is like really low budget.
Oh,
it's really
yeah.
it's very like
sure.
humble.
But it's not even that song though, right? It was the trailer song. It wasn't the character select matchup versus song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the one I want to really hear. You know, the yeah song, and everyone is gonna have their favorite dumb face for their character, or dumb fat face sequence. Right? Are you gonna be pouty Chun-Li, smiling Ryu? Right? I'm like kind of wondering as well as like, did they see the reaction to happy Fortnite Ryu and go, oh yeah, let's just capitalize on that too while we're at it?
No.
Plus the beard, plus all the other
I think
shit.
somebody was playing Soul Calibur 2 and was like, right, yeah, good.
Wind. Okay.
They should have made Guile have a bald spot.
No. Beards for everybody.
Old.
Beards for everybody. Let's see. What else is... Okay, so then there's the fucking wave of news, but before even those things, there's just some, like, non-gaming event stuff. One, Street Fighter 6. 2, Tekken 2 priced at $10,000.
$10,000
on PlayStation Store. An outrage. However, if it was Tekken 3, debatable.
Reasonable.
Debatable. I think everyone would have raised an eyebrow and went, I don't know. That seems a little high. If it were 3. Just begrudgingly pull out your wallet. I guess. Yeah. We'll see if they get around to fixing that.
How badly do you want to play Polygonal Kunimitsu?
Not as badly as I want to play as Angel.
Yeah. Ooh.
Everybody remembers
that
Devil.
even real?
Yes. Everybody remembers Devil. Nobody remembers Angel. Then, in this sequence of events, Joker 2 was announced, and I went, okay, why don't, I guess. It was a really good standalone piece. I hope you don't, go weird with it and kind of spoil the sweetness of how it was brief and good. And then they're like, it's going to be a musical, and Lady Gaga's in it. And I'm like, okay, that's weird, unexpected.
Lady Gaga knows how to do a sing.
Yes, so that's an unusual place to go. And then I think, okay, if a sufficient runtime percentage of this movie is actively not real, then I can see this being an interesting movie.
Okay.
Right? If a dedicated chunk of this film is not actually at all happening, at all, I could
Yeah.
see this being an interesting experiment. That's what I'm hoping for.
I get that. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Folie à deux.
I just want to see them do a little dance about and in a song called Society
Sure.
and talk about how they live in it.
I would like to see if this leads to a very upset Margot Robbie getting Jared Leto'd with a new Harley Quinn.
What are you gonna compete with fucking Lady Gaga when they're singing to be like Margot? I'm sorry. It's just
And hopefully, because if her role is going to be obvious in its casting, and she's going to play Quinzel, you know, the hope is that maybe we can get a fucking fresh take that is not necessarily Hot Topic Harley. That'd be really interesting. That'd be cool. I'd be down for that.
Can I have a moment in this movie? This might be a little strange, but can we have a moment in this movie where some of the cast from fucking Rent appears only to be shot?
I mean, the state of Gotham being as shitty as it is, it's entirely plausible. And various other musical gags. I'm certain. I'm hoping that a bunch of like themed thugs will just break out into full cobras, hiss, panthers, meow, cobras.
Yeah, all that kind of stupid shit.
Meow. Yeah. Yeah. And then a confused Norm Macdonald in the middle, just going, "Did you just sing? What?" Yeah.
I would love to see a confused Norm Macdonald confused by the singing in this Joker movie.
Yes. Also confused by his resurrection.
Especially, I would love for Joker to look at Norm and go, "Aren't you dead?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then they do a dance. Fine, fuck it.
And then the credits roll, and it says, you know, and featuring Norm Macdonald as Solomon Grundy.
Yeah, sure, fuck it. There you go, done.
All right. That's our Joker segment. Xbox event.
Xbox.
Xbox.
Didn't Sony do one? I can't remember what fucking order these things went in.
Okay, well, I'm just going to tell you right now that this is what we're doing, because there's fucking 45 items here.
All right, just hit it. Xbox.
SILKSONG is dropping at some point this year.
That still feels like a joke. Tell us when, but cool.
What I want to know is Hornet's ability list going to be fleshed out to a comparable degree, you know?
I feel like we see more moves from Hornet in that trailer than we do from the Knight.
Exactly. And you see all the stuff that she does in her boss fights, but a couple new things. And I'm like, okay, this is good, because you always want to know, like, is it just the playable boss, or is it the playable boss plus, you know, all the adaptations that you would expect for them, right? Like, you want them to be, if not fully fleshed out as Hollow Knight, then at the very least, half of that list is still fine, you know?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But still looks amazing, and that's coming, and we'll just have to believe in a date at some point.
It's gonna come out June 7th, 2023.
I mean,
you know it.
Like, the one thing you do know is, like, Team Cherry's working really fucking hard.
Oh, I bet.
You know they're putting it all in. So, yeah. Anyway, they showed off that, and that continues to look like fucking amazing. Um, they showed off that Overwatch 2 will be free to play. And you know what?
Cool.
Considering the what's that really good word for when like everyone is just sort of nonplussed? But there's a word.
Disinterested?
No, there's a word that we've used before a couple times.
Ennui?
No, it's some anyway. There's just a like
Apathy?
a wave of whatever. The point is
Sentiment?
whelmed. Everyone is whelmed.
Well, there it is. Yeah,
everyone is whelmed.
Highly whelmed
by Overwatch 2. So it's but the free to play move is a smart thing to do marketing wise.
Yeah, the announcing its free to playness right alongside articles about how Diablo Immortal might be the most like predatory microtransaction game of all time was super smart.
And then Diablo 4, which
I felt fucking gaslit by the Necromancer announcement.
Necromancer trailer?
Because I'm sitting there and they're like, the Necromancer's the final class coming to Diablo 4. And I'm like, the fucking what? When the fuck did that happen? And then people are telling me that I talked about Diablo 4 like 2 years ago? And I'm like, sure, whatever the fuck you say.
So, they did their thing. Junker Queens is a design that I like.
Dude, that sequence is so fucking goofy. They're
What
literally just Warhammer orcs. Literally just like tan Warhammer orcs.
Mm-hmm.
With the robot and the red and the spot, like it's wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And hey, Wooly, if you own Overwatch 1, you can get a free Jester costume for Sombra.
Well, there you go. Now we're
you're
talking.
Fucking clown.
Put the makeup on.
Yeah, highly whelmed. Highly.
Whelmed is the word. And then they showed off Starfield. So, the thing is they meant like this was announced some time ago, but I forgot about this being a thing that was announced. I'm looking at it and I was like, oh, this is what again?
It's Skyrim in space.
Poor man's Sky. Is that what's happening?
No, No Man's Skyrim.
Okay.
Hey, Wooly, can you give me a second? I gotta take the phone call that just came in.
Okay, no problem. right. I was saying about Starfield that I did not remember it or recognize it at all, and then I just kind of scrubbed through the 15 minutes they showed, and I kind of realized that, well, the reason why I didn't remember it at all is because there's nothing that was particularly identifiable about it.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be space, but it's Bethesda, and you love Bethesda games, right? Yeah, that's kind of yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so no, nothing super stood out. Um, and that was that.
Yep. It's
Uh,
fine, I guess. We'll see.
then they announced that Atlas was interested in making money again.
Yeah, they're going to
So
start porting the personas around.
it's nice that, you know,
Years and
they'd like
years
to get
and
some money.
years later.
P3 Portable, 4 Golden, and Royal coming to Xbox and PC. Royal 5 starting on October 21st. I guess.
That's weirdly far for an
Mm-hmm.
announcement like that, because it makes me think that P3P is like end of next year.
And with that, the entire Persona franchise will now be available on Xbox. um,
That's right.
I I guess though, really, portable with the ability to play as Femc is now like the preferred um, version of the game as opposed to Fess, where you can just deal without the answer,
Mm-hmm.
which is good.
Fucking answer sucks.
And Femc's dope. The
Yeah.
ability to get a completely different set of romancing options is cool. So yeah, can't hate on that. But it's fucking finally actually going to be available to PC folks. So that's nice. Okay. Then there was a trailer for what I can only describe as Vin Diesel finished God of War and saw Atreus and went, fambily. And
That's
then
right. And then jumped on the dinosaur.
and then the people that made the first Ark game were like, yeah, come stand over here and do that again. And he's like, fambily. And they're like, yeah, good.
Yeah,
good,
those ARC trailers are fucking weird. They're fucking so weird because they literally just like, there's a dinosaur and look, we've hired Vin Diesel to lend us his head.
I don't know. I'm like, maybe I'm just pulling it out of nowhere, but I just got a big old Dad of War and Atreus vibe off of him on the dinosaur with the kid.
Sure, I guess.
And that'll be that.
And then you look at ARC and you're like, wow, another game for them to just not finish and then start working on a new game. And then you can find bits and pieces of the old game they didn't finish in the new game.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if your dinosaurs are not even moving like precipitation or a weather pattern, is it even really a dinosaur survival game?
Dude, I'm still so baffled that Exoprimal is named Exoprimal and not Dino Crisis. It's so fucking weird.
Because again, it's like if she was in one of those suits, then you could do that, but then it would just be really lazy and dumb, and they're clearly not committing to actually building that franchise out, but they really probably should have, because I don't think anyone would hate seeing it again. But new things are cool too. Could be fine. But yeah, there is a definite space for dinosaur killing in the Capcom world that it's strange to just drop this in to that same space and kind of disrespect her like that, But dinosaurs as fluid is still really weird and interesting. I'm like, it's the flood zombies, but you're seeing, you know, a dinosaur tornado, and I guess you're
That game is so goddamn weird. I don't know what to think of it. I'm sure I'll try out the network test and have more thoughts on it then. But it's like the weirdest part isn't even dinosaurs and all that. It's like Capcom is having a 5 versus 5 multiplayer race to the kill the enemies game with all these modes, and it feels like them trying another like Umbrella Corps, or like there's a team inside Capcom that wants to desperately make some fucking kind of weird big team esport thing.
big esport. Mm-hmm.
And I don't get it.
Probably very likely. The the only thing I kind of really want to see is, do any of these, it's a shooter, but do any of these suits have like any particular like melee dedicated
I'm sure one
things?
does.
Because if there's a suit that just melees its way through all the dinosaurs, that might be fun.
So what would that be? Dinosaur Warriors? Dinosaur Warriors.
Dinosaur frame. War
These
frame.
are both terrible. These are
Yep.
awful.
Well, good thing there's a lot of shit to talk about, so we can move on.
Moving on.
Hideo Kojima is working on a game with Xbox.
Okay, bye.
It might or might not be the one starring Mama. There was a website that leaked the possibility of a game that was like the actor who played Mama, I forget her name, but apparently she was like in a kind of like survival horror type situation, and they said that they saw footage of that, and it was kind of like, well, that could be anyone, we don't know, whatever. But then apparently Koji Pro reached out and said, hey, can you take that down and pull the report? And they went, nah. And they went, okay. So it could be that thing, or it could be Redis completely dropping, you know, the leak on the sequel, and then it's just, this is going to be Xbox involved somehow. Who knows? I don't know if Koji Pro is the kind of team that is now big enough to do multiple giant things on the scale of Death Stranding at the same time.
No, they got like one big one and maybe one like medium to mid tiny one. So maybe it's gonna be Boktai.
Oh, he just took it back. Talk by.
Sure. Yeah, good. Take your Xbox outside.
So yeah, he's working on something, and I guess we're gonna need to see the footage of how Microsoft lovingly looks at Hideo, and we can compare it and see if there's more love in their eyes than over at Sony.
I think Sony's probably getting Death Stranding too, so I think they're probably getting it from both ends.
Maybe. But I like the idea of, like, you know, House on one side, just trying to, you know, beckon him over, and Microsoft trying to sweeten the deal, and anyway. Then they showed off Pentiment, which is a narrative game from Obsidian. And I don't know exactly what a narrative game means, because that could mean a lot of things. But this art style was, you know, very like Dark Ages, like scroll.
I feel really bad for Pentiment because it looks incredibly similar in its art to Card Shark, but less interesting.
So I was thinking of when I looked at that last week from when you talked about Card Shark. I was like, yeah, it reads a bit like that, though much more like it's animated in an old style kind of feel, whereas like Card Shark is like moving kind of smoothly, you know, in a way. But yeah, and it's also unclear what the exact gameplay sort of is, but it could just be an adventure game, you know.
No, it won't. Josh Sawyer is doing it, so it's probably gonna be like weirdly in depth on its systems.
Mm.
Like 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 Josh Sawyer was the guy who for Pillars of Eternity decided that missing your opponent on a dice roll was too simple. So he invented the concept of grazes.
Fair enough. Though, yeah, though to be fair to this game, though, like the art style in this is much more like direct off of a stained glass window than like Card Shark is more just like, you know,
Playing, it
aesthetically.
looks like playing cards.
It's aesthetically in the same space. This is a real grab and lift, kind of like Ki resonances to
Mm-hmm.
the views of Mount Fuji, you know. And that was pretty much Xbox. And there's
Xbox.
some Forza stuff, but you know, yeah.
I I can't tell the difference between the two completely similar looking Forza games.
Um, then there was Summer Game Fest, which happened while while we were playing Mass Effect, and it was kind of funny because there's a couple times where, you know, if an event is happening and we're just doing our thing, and like there's an initial like, oh, the event's going down, okay, you guys switching over? No? Okay. And then as we continue, just people going, holy shit, kill me. Oh my god. Fucking nothing.
You
Wow,
know,
what a heap of nothing.
you know
And
what?
it's just like it
You,
just continues for like the next 2 hours.
you know what my favorite part about you mentioning the Summer Games Fests is that I'm sitting here and you're talking about it, and I'm like, did I watch that one? And as you're
It
describing that people going, oh, I'm gonna die, I'm like, oh, I did watch that one.
yeah.
I did
Like,
watch that one.
so it's just kind of like, I guess what you really are asking for, folks, is for me to die along with you.
Yes, that is what they're
that's
asking.
what you want. Yeah.
Because like,
Because everyone's like, dude,
I
are you
think
going to do it? And I'm like, I'd rather do this. And then you come back and you go,
it
oh,
was
man,
during
it's
that
terrible.
one, during the pre-stream, somebody was like, oh, wow, Willie's still playing Mass Effect. He never does these. I'm like, yeah, because he's fucking bored by them, and he'd rather just do his regular thing. And I'm sitting there going like, oh, I'm bored. I'm like, yeah, that was the right decision. But you never know.
You never know. You never know. That is the problem. No matter, even like 9 times out of 10, you know, I might have made the right call, but that 1 time out of 10, son of a bitch, there was a big drop. But in the meantime, like, that's all I see is just like that initial excitement right into everyone just rotting away live and going, oh God, you know? So yeah, by all means.
It had the same problem that we have all been fighting against since the birth of the electronic video game show, which is a man come on the screen and Jeff Keighley says, hello man, and the man goes, hello, I am man from place. Boy, our new video game is so hot. Let me tell you how hot it is. Super hot. Wow. You can, and then like no description of any game ever means anything because we've all heard every possible permutation of fucking words. And then they go, here's gonna be some new footage, and they show like 65 seconds of Dead Space Man, not Dead Space Man, walking through a fucking hallway, and then they're like, wow.
Our new game, I'm very excited to announce, our new game is going to be in space and it's going to be a horror game.
That was actually genuinely weird over the past couple days.
Big space
because
horror
there are
game.
like 6 or 7.
Please look forward to it.
Do you want to do a creepy monster in space games that got announced and or re-announced?
I mean, like, it could just be unfortunate timing, but wow.
It really feels like it. We're in the space horror. Remember Year of the Bow? Do you remember that?
Year of the of Horizon.
Where like it was really bizarre how like almost every big budget main character was like a girl with a bow. Now we're Year of the space monster.
It's just I was even going back over it after the fact. I was like, wow, just back to back, huh? But yeah, so Aliens, Dark Descent, you know. It's an Aliens game. And then Fort Solis came after that. And that was the one with voice actors.
Oh yeah, where they got the Troy Baker and the Arthur Morgan guy, and they were like, "Oh boy, we love acting so much. Oh, we're gonna act so good in this one."
And then after acting that was Routine, which was like a genuinely cool, creepy looking robot attacking the camera in a
I agree.
In a way, but like it was just kind of funny when it turned out that the name of the game was Routine.
Yeah.
And I think that they said that was a re-announcement of the game that was of something that was announced before. So yeah, that kind of went down 1, 2, 3. Okay, though, Flashback 2. That's interesting.
So when I was sitting there and Flashback 2 came up, because I was doing it with the live audience, 90% of the people in my chat were like, "What the fuck is Flashback?"
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Well, holy, that game came out like fucking 30 years ago.
Oh man, yeah, I know.
It's a contemporary to fucking Prince of Persia.
Oh man, Flashback and Out of This World.
Okay, but here's the thing that I legit don't understand. You remember what Flashback looked like?
Yeah.
It looked fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It didn't look old and retro like the Flashback 2. Because Flashback 2 should be the absolute bleeding edge of the most futuristic pinnacle style of animation possible.
But this is doing a sequel off of like the remake that happened not too long ago, so they're kind of just going back in that aesthetic.
I don't know.
And here's the other thing, and this is like, okay, so you're on the what the fuck is Flashback side of things here. And and I was gearing up to go, how are you just going to forget about Fade to Black? Fade to Black was the actual sequel to Flashback that came out afterwards that was a 3D game. And I remember it fondly, except the aiming was terrible. It was quite hard, actually. But I like Flashback a lot, so I really wanted to give Fade to Black a chance. You know?
I genuinely am befuddled over IP use of things that have been unused since before most of the audience has been alive.
Look, man.
I feel like when they announced Flashback 2, it was like a motherfucker stood up and said, "Guys, fuck, coming to Xbox, Netflix, whatever, the fucking sequel to the Maltese Falcon."
Okay. I have to say that, like, as somebody who sits here with very, like, specific tastes in games and such, like, I feel like an outsider so much when it comes to, like, any game that involves a mouse as the primary method of control.
Yeah, that makes sense. Your history with that is just turbulent.
And over the years, I've gotten further and further. That feels strong. That feeling has increased in intensity, stronger and stronger. But when moments like this happen, where I'm like, no, fuck all of you. Flashback is an old and like it was a big deal, right? Hold on a minute. It's like no. Oh, it kind of makes me think like no, wait, you were around and played shit in an era that like had a lot of these things that were influential and made it and mattered, but there was just a giant chunk of time that happened in between then and now, you know, where a new shit came along. The Fade to Black was a direct. It was a direct sequel featuring Conrad Hart, you know, and it was like you had the same jacket, got the gun, you were taking on the same types of enemies, morphing and doing their thing, but it was more of a peek around the corner and use really early rough aiming mechanics to shoot, but the overall like setting and aesthetic of Flashback and Out of This World back in the day were like the best.
Wow,
man.
this looks like dog shit.
I loved the originals, and I really wanted to like that one, you know. I might still have the fucking disc somewhere lying around. Anyway,
man.
Yeah. They're just going right past it, pretending that never happened, and they're making a game and calling it Flashback 2, when technically it should be Flashback 3. But whatever. I guess who's counting? Wooly. Wooly's counting. That's who.
This feels like we're making Adventure 4.
Sure.
Like, and we're gonna have a contest for the 4th fucking thing that never went out. Yeah.
It's again, it's just there's specific, you know, areas of this fucking whole video game thing where I'm just like, oh, I know that. I was around for that, you know, and you know, boomer me up all you want, but I know a bunch of you guys are like, you know, you were around. Like if we talk about like something like Civ, y'all know that super well inside out, top to bottom.
Because it comes out every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. But like people played the first one, right? Like you guys.
I didn't.
No? Did you just jump in at a midpoint?
No, Civ 1 when it came out was like for adults.
Where did
and I was not.
Where did people jump in on Civ?
4.
Oh, really?
Maybe 3. 3 was the explosion.
Okay. It started in the middle. Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
But that's going to change depending on the audience that you're talking to. Wooly, they're having a Final Fantasy VII 25th fucking anniversary event tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah. And at some point, Dragon's Dogma is going to be like, yo, remember Dragon's Dogma? Damn, that was crazy. Anyway, later. Oh, wow.
Fucking, I don't know. Sorry, I apologize if that noise I threw at my key at my fucking tea and knocked some stuff over.
Damn, you guys, that was crazy.
Fucking, hey guys, wow, it's crazy how much you love Dragon's Dogma. Wow, anyway. What the fuck is that?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like some companies, like, anniversaries matter. Some companies, they don't. Capcom is one where kinda, but like ever since like Street Fighter 25th, it's really.
I mean, they've goosed it a couple of years in either direction.
I mean, I feel like Street Fighter 25th was probably the last time like they like planned and then did things for it, you know?
I forget when it happened, but there was like something that was like Mega Man's 30th anniversary, and it was like Mega Man came out 28 years ago. like they have absolutely like goosed it in a couple directions.
Boy. Anyway. So they showed off Witchfire, which was
Yeah.
it was a game with a magic gun
Cool.
and some
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
Then Stormgate, which is
The
an RTS from
I
ex-Blizzard
started to lose
employees,
it. I
and
started to lose my mind when I saw that title.
the latest entry in the War Dawn Gate face of War Dawn Gate face
London.
Stormfire.
You know what? You know what?
Yeah.
You know what's worse? You know what's worse than the fact that it's called Stormgate is that it looks like a game called Stormgate.
Now, but here's the one thing: Stormgate is a real word. To be fair, a Stormgate is a thing. It's just unfortunate that it happens to also be two words that get put on the roulette of Rise of the War Face Dawn Storm Hammer.
So I feel bad for them because it looks like knockoff StarCraft because it is knockoff StarCraft.
Hell.
And
Dawn.
Stargate would have been the obvious choice, except there's obviously Stargate with Richard Dean Anderson that exists, where he hangs out with Kratos, and they go on zany little adventures in Vancouver, that forest that Skulder and Mully hang out all the time in. Because the taxes there are cheap for filming your TV show. But no, now it's going to be called Stormgate. Yeah, you know what? Somebody in the chat just said it should have been called Star Door. Fuck it.
Space Fence.
Anything. Like, literally, did I say Skulder and Mully?
Sure did.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Yeah, I fully expect that game to come out, and people say it's cool, and I go, great, and then 8 years later, I find out it's still technically alive.
I gotta say, as much as we love throwing face on that list, there aren't enough entries that use the word face.
There's like one.
No, but it's but it's so dumb that it just keeps coming back. So you just keep putting face back out there. It's kind of wishful thinking in the hopes that they're going to create, more face games. Stormface, Starface, Dawnface. Just come on, use face more often. Like we gotta keep it on the list for a reason.
I don't know what to say, man. That game looks fucking doomed.
Hellface.
I feel like they wanted to call it Hellgate, but Hellgate is taken. Ironically enough, Hellgate is taken by a different group of developers that left Blizzard.
Yes. Because these are also things that are basically like structures in Blizzard games, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the move.
If you'd played a lot of Blizzard games back in the day, you would recognize that most of their primary art design came from Chris Metzen, and that is a limited palette of what if I applied my own art style to Warhammer. And seeing that crawl all the way forward in time to seeing the Junkyard Queen and all that shit in Overwatch just be a bunch of fucking orcs who are Australian instead of British is wild. And then you go all the way to people that have left Blizzard to make not StarCraft are making making monster demons that look like 2 steps removed from chaos enemies in Warhammer.
Me and the boys just left Blizzard. We're opening up our new company. It's called Archon Entertainment. It's called Ire, My Life for Ire Games.
If you wanted to leave Blizzard and make your own company that made such similar games, you should have called it Ice Storm.
Christ. Yeah, I mean, you want to go on the money, you go on the money, I suppose. Sure.
And then you go, well, no, it's because we're a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons, and we always love the 4th level wizard spell Ice Storm because it does more damage than Fireball.
Avalanche is a thing. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, moving right along. Well, okay, hold on a minute though. The name of the company in question is Frost Giant.
Are you serious?
Yes, that's the company making Stormgate.
Well, fucking Jesus Christ!
Lest we
fucking
forget.
Serious?
Yes.
Are you actually fucking okay?
I am being fucking dead ass serious.
You know what? I shouldn't talk shit because a company that I like, which is Obsidian, is a splinter of the former studio BlackRock Studios.
Yeah, that's fine. Respawn is a cool name. I don't mind that.
I think Respawn's probably the best name for the circumstances they were in.
That's awesome.
That was actually very smart.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, so then we had another narrative game. This one is isometric survival game. High Water.
Black Isle, not BlackRock. My mistake.
High Water, which is another it looks like it's kind of like a water world type thing.
What if global warming got really bad? Whoa, wow, what a crazy premise.
And then I'm curious to know more about this one actually. American Arcadia, the Truman Show-esque trailer they showed off where it's a big old perfect American like basically what if Columbia and the Truman Show were you know one and the same, and then you have to escape from it. So we'll see what's going on with that thing. Then what was after? Then they did Goat Simulator 3.
Genuinely, like, first of all, faking people out with the thought that it was the Dead Island trailer.
The Dead Island trailer.
Pretty good. And second, there's no Goat Simulator 2.
Wait, what?
There's no Goat Simulator 2.
So fuck it, we're just calling it 3.
Yeah, straight up.
Okay.
100%.
All right.
That's pretty funny.
Like, just no logic to it. We're just doing the bigger number. Yep. Okay. Marvel's Midnight Suns, XCOM plus Marvel characters. Sure.
I have to say I'm really impressed at making characters such as Devil Venom and Devil Hulk look so boring.
I'm curious to see if it's really just like straight up XCOMing it, because like that's probably a genre Marvel should have been doing things in ages ago, really. And furthermore, you can reach into a giant fucking collection of characters to pull and drop on squad. I mean, essentially, whatchamacallit? What are those games called? The ones with the huge Marvel rosters, and the third one,
Ultimate Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance, yeah. You can basically they could have been doing that, except with super fun XCOM gameplay, you know. So
I'm really impressed, and I sent you an image, Wooly, that they managed to make Demon Hulk look way shittier than Dragon Age's Origins Ogre from fucking 2008 or when the fuck that game came out.
I seen it. Yeah. No, when Venom got taken over, it's kind of like should have probably just left it as Venom and maybe like, I don't know, made him a little more like red or something, or blue, just, or change his eye color. It's Venom's a solid design. Throwing horns on a thing is not my favorite. Look how evil it is now.
They're not even cool looking horns though on Hulk.
But yes. Again, genre-wise, Marvel should have been in that space a while ago, I think. So we'll see. Could be interesting if there's a big enough roster of like recognizables and get some weirdos in there too.
I'm wondering if
Blade
Marvel has some kind of stipulation that it can't be as buggy as your average XCOM game, because they come out buggy as fuck.
I mean, it would be great to have like a moment of like Frank Castle just unloading into one of the evil like monsters, and then it's a 0% complete miss.
No, you know what? Frank Castle has an ability, and what it is like it's called punishment, and you click on an enemy, and a teammate within 20 feet says, "Hey, Frank, that demon dealt some drugs to some kids." Sure. And then Frank gets an accuracy bonus.
Also exciting is the prospect of Bullseye being playable and targeting an enemy, and then 95% pops up.
Oh, that's just no.
Look at this is Bullseye. I need that. I kind of need that in my life a little bit, you know. Yeah.
People are saying that Morbius is highly involved with the Midnight Suns. Are we going to get Morbius DLC?
If Blade is involved, then there's no reason to believe that Morbius.
Come on, Morbius.
They used to come together. You know, they used to be a pair. All right, then there was Neon White World. Which one was this?
Neon White looks like the fucking action shooty game by the people who made that in very bizarre fucking mystery game. What the fuck was it called? Oh, it had such a weird name.
I don't know, but
my brain has failed me.
Okay, but the card first person thing, yeah, where like instead of weapons, the cards are just floating where the weapon would be. Is it Obra Dinn? Is it by?
Really?
What?
Paradise Killer.
No,
I'm thinking of Paradise Killer.
Yeah, I'm like Obra Dinn is by Papers, Please, folks. Yeah, that doesn't seem right. Not the same style.
It looks like Paradise Killer. That's Kaizen Gameworks. Do they make Paradise? Do they make it? No, it just happens to look similar. Wow, that's weird.
Okay, this is all misinformation.
Hey man, did you play Killer 7? Killer 7 was cool.
There's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of a Suda feeling coming off of the trailer. Yeah, I'd say so. And it seems to mainly establish its attitude more than anything else in the game. You know?
It's a bizarre looking fucking game.
Then Midnight Fight Express showed off a trailer.
That's a one-man game.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me jump in through here. Yeah. Okay. So that was the Mad Streets Hotline Miami vibes. I want to say. I think it was that. Yeah. Was that it? Yeah. A little bit of that Hotline Miami going.
Mm-hmm.
And then right, and then Hoyoverse took the stage and unveiled the latest in premium gacha. Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero. Zenless Zone Zero, I saw that trailer actually a while ago, because folks said like, "Dude, check out the aesthetics of this thing," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's very pretty. I can see where the Genshin Impact money went, and I can see how they're gonna fucking. You want to get those cool characters doing those things? You're gonna fucking shell out."
Yeah, so I had a great experience where I saw this come up, and I'm like, oh, great, those games that I can't play because they target a sickness in my mind. But that one's a turn-based RPG, right? Okay, maybe I can play that one. And then I'm talking to a friend of mine playing 14, and he got into the beta, and he's like, oh, no, it's a gacha. It's a big gacha. It just happens to be a turn-based RPG. And I'm like, oh, great!
Yeah. It's unfortunate because they do, from what I've seen of like, and I've never touched Genshin Impact, but from what I've seen, like they've, between that and Honkai and stuff, like they've gotten an aesthetic understanding of like, you know, just kind of the same thing that you get from those League of Legends music videos, like a really high stylistic understanding of like just pace and flow and, you know, energy, like really cool cinematic stuff. I like the style a lot. But you know what it's going to be, you know, and I'm very, very uninterested in that style of mechanics and gameplay. So they used to be called MiHoYo, right?
Yes, I believe
and
so.
now it's just Hoyoverse?
I guess so. I didn't even realize they changed. I was a little confused when you brought it up just now.
Yeah, because I saw that, and I was like, is that like the name of the connected world or whatever? And then it seems like, no, that's just what the company's going by. Hoyo up. Yeah, so there's those two. And then fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. That looked interesting when they first showed it off, and this time they're like, here, Casey Jones is in it. Also, it's 6 fucking players, so straight up X-Men arcade style, huge beat-em-up screen, and goddamn fucking Raekwon and Ghostface on the track. I don't know how or what or why.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird.
Fuck it. Why not? Why not? Wu-Tang is for the children. TMNT is
That's
also
accurate.
for the children.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So then let's just bring it all together. You know? Yeah. That's no one saw that coming, but you got me talking about it.
I mean, nobody saw it coming, but like Wu-Tang and TMNT seems like a very obvious like era choice.
I guess, but the problem is that Once Upon a Time used to be Vanilla Ice, which is the complete opposite end of the spectrum of realness. So, you know,
that's true. That's true.
I wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together on this one, but here we are.
And you ever see that interview where Vanilla Ice tries to explain how he didn't steal the bass line from Contents Under Pressure?
Dun 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 dun. It's totally different.
Totally different. Totally different. It's masterful. Masterful.
I mean, what he really should have done is just went, yeah, Suge Knight held me at gunpoint. And
well, he could.
Everyone would have been like, yeah, okay.
He couldn't do that because Suge Knight was in the room holding him at gunpoint during that interview.
You know what? Fair. Yeah, precisely. Okay. He's like, yeah. And each time one of the dun, like he's bopping the gun to it, dun 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 dun. Yeah, totally.
There's a really bizarre time that was like 10, 15 years ago where it became completely clear to everyone that like Suge Knight was the problem in like 100 different seemingly unrelated situations.
The common denominator every single time, including the time when, completely unrelated to everything, he pulled up to the set of Straight Outta Compton, got into an argument, and on the way out murdered somebody by running them over with his Hummer. Like, it is like Suge Knight is the problem at all times, no matter what is happening in the room. That's the issue.
Yeah, because you remember all that hubbub, all that fucking terror, like, oh, the rap music, all these criminals. Like, no, it was kind of just him.
Fucking Mephisto energy coming off of this dude, man. Yeah, no, like the entire and you know, like, I mean, you can go into the documentaries and all that, and like, look, they always do these things where, like, yeah, the rose-colored glasses on the recap of how things went down, you know, just, you know, you see the bullshit in like the movies where, oh yeah, like Snoop Dogg for the first time hears the track and is just like, okay, yeah, and then ba-da-da-da-da, and then, you know, like the whole thing just improvise, like we came up with that on this. It's bullshit, right? Like, that's always hyper fucking you know, like rose-colored glasses on all that. But one thing that every single person does tell you is whenever there was the spark of beef, like, Suge Knight was immediately there to blow, to pour kerosene on it.
He was there. He was magnetized to drama
at all times.
So, like, this may be outside of Suge's particular culture and or era, but he is, in fact, a messy bitch that lives for drama. And he should have spent more time trying to live, laugh, love.
I kind of wish there was, like, some sort of... I don't know. Like, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts. But...
What the hell was going?
But, like, I just feel like there's, like, the right energy is a scene of everyone in hip-hop uniting against a giant Suge Knight boss.
Oh, okay.
On the horizon, like, just a big D-mob motherfucker that is, you can't even see his bottom half, you know what I mean? And everyone is, like, flying through the air, like the entire, like, the all coasts coming together to fight him in the horizon, you know, like that.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like the Kingdom Hearts energy of that moment in my brain. I don't know how best to describe it. That's all I got. Anyway. Okay, so the Hoyo verse did its thing. And then, speaking of musicians, actually, right after that was Metal Hellsinger, which more than once has been, like, not BPM, right? It's bullets per minute.
It's really unfortunate because I feel like we keep seeing this happen with games that are that you feel are too unique to have this happen to them. But, like, Hellsinger just looks like a significantly superior BPM.
Okay, so it's weird because there's two things happening when I watch that trailer. BPM feels like it has way more synergy between the action and the music. I feel like the Hellsinger stuff is sort of on beat, like it's incidental, but not everything is happening rhythmically. BPM, every reload, every shot, all of it feels like it's way more on. And it was a little more loose in the footage of that trailer, at the very least. But the list of musicians they have contributing to that soundtrack
is great.
Probably means that, like, Hellsinger is going to be, like, a way better soundtrack, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and just the
It's
track they
double
put.
unfortunate because BPM is more of a rhythm game.
Yeah, that's it. It feels like in exchange for, being less on the rhythm with the gunplay, you're gonna just have like a fucking, you're gonna have goddamn System of a Down just come in and lay down hotness, and you're like, well, fuck, that's better music. So, you you know, sure. Um, but I'm not. Like the first time I saw footage of BPM, the way every turn, every shot, every reload was like happening in rhythm, in sequence, on the beat, and in this there's like a little bit of respecting the beat, but it's like it's half and half,
Yeah, but for me, at the same time, it's like, man, BPM is so focused on the music that it doesn't want to distract you with visual details, such as having more than one color per stage.
Yeah, yeah, the aesthetic choices. I didn't, like I said, I didn't mind it that much, but I think games that go all yellow get it harder than games that go all another color, any other color.
Yeah, because yellow is the color of piss.
Yeah. So
So if you're going to make a piss game, you call it gold.
but other games that go like, heavy blue or heavy red tend to get away with it. Okay, so
Willie, did you ever see anyone involved with Human Revolution's piss filter actually encounter the phrase piss filter?
I did not, because I joined when Human Revolution already launched. I was in time for
Okay.
the collector's edition, so
Because, like,
I missed that.
just like, game looked like pit. We're not talking about Waterworld.
Oh Jesus!
Don't worry about that. Never talking about Waterworld.
Water Sports World.
No. Ugh. Ah. Oh, some people would go to it. Some people, not me.
All right. I'll I'll just write that down over here.
Really?
Water Sports World. Well, look, I put it down next to Suge Norted.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Well, we all know you're just going to combine both of those.
Well, clearly, and I don't even know what Norted means, so fuck it.
Oh God. Well,
no, I
know.
I know.
It means you get yellow piss eyes.
Sure, perfect. There. Yeah. All I know is that word elicits high emotional response in everybody.
Aqua got Norted. Is that where you encountered that?
Everywhere, all the time, all the nonsense. It comes up all the time. But all I know is people respond very highly emotionally to that word, so I'm throwing that in. All right, notes are taken.
I think the funniest thing about the word Norted is there is unironically a moment in which a character says, "I'm already half Xehanort," to which Sora responds with, like, "What? That doesn't make any sense." Like, even in universe, it's baffling.
I like a good in-universe. What? Anyway, they then showed off The Quarry, which is already out. And
yeah,
as you said,
it's not quite as good as Until Dawn, but it's pretty good.
Better than
me and Paige had the list, and the list was Until Dawn, House of Ashes, The Quarry, Man of Medan, Power Gap, Little Hope.
Oof. Yeah, well, actually, considering everything that you dropped about that last time, yeah. Facial expression still on point.
Yep. Though there is something very weird happening in that game, and it takes place almost entirely at night, which sucks because in the few scenes that are in daylight, the facial capture animation tech they're using looks way better in brightly lit areas.
Now, a couple of years ago, I know that the one of the folks that was involved in that facial tech was actually a fan that was listening. I don't know if they're still around, but hey, your shit still looks really cool, man. Good stuff.
Looks cool, man. But yeah, it's weird. There's like a single scene in the game in which direct sunlight is hitting a character right on their face, and it looks completely photoreal as compared to every other part in the game where it looks pretty good.
I think that okay, whatever. I'm cutting myself off immediately on the thing where it's like, hey, it was a good decision for them to make short anthology games because then they can course correct and better. You know the deal. All right, moving on.
Well, they're doing both now, so because The Quarry isn't an anthology game; it's like a full giant Until Dawn experience.
I know, but it's just it's been pointed out to me how much I talk about anthology things, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Fair enough. I'm gonna try to be less repetitive about that. And it's like, there's what about all the bad anthologies that happen? And it's like, yeah,
I have to admit, I laughed pretty hard when I saw a comment last week that was like, listening to Pat complain about 2 shows he refuses to watch for 40 minutes is like the worst thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, you know what? That's fucking fair.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's really fair.
Yeah. I get it. So then they showed off the Saints Row Boss Factory, which is pretty smart. I like the idea of putting a character creator app out that people can make something in and then transfer it over. That's fun.
It's
for a game that's
definitely...
like especially about character creation like nonsense.
It's definitely very cool, but as somebody who really liked the older Saints Row games since they got silly, they still haven't actually shown anything at all that makes me interested in that game even a little. And the weird like statement they made about they're making Saints Row for Zoomers fucking hits bad.
I have the weirdest perspective on this franchise, man, because like I remember 1 was that weird GTA clone, and then
it was a pretty decent one.
2 was in the office for test.
Yeah.
So I saw that a bunch. And then 3 took the world by storm, and then everything else has been everyone saying, man, this sure isn't 3.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You're right. You have correctly described the entire Saints Row franchise history with one caveat or one addendum, which is people who played 1, 2, 3, etc. in a row are going to constantly tell you how much better 2 was, even though it wasn't, because the story was more serious.
Ah, okay. Before they decided to swerve into it, which they should have, because, I mean, GTA is GTA. Like,
yeah,
it's the right decision to create. Do
you remember when GTA was also silly?
Yes, GTA 3 original was very silly. GTA 1 and 2 were very silly, and I mean, it stayed more or less silly, but it just got less over time, until I guess there's like segments of silly in like 4, 5, and so on. But
I still remember playing Grand Theft Auto 4, and the design decision was like, we're going to make cars control realistically so that they're not fun to drive anymore. Oh, look how real it is to fucking hop up on the curb and have every car feel like shit. Ooh.
But yeah, I bring this up because I think, like, for me personally, this is that's a smart marketing idea. I would have loved to have been like, yeah, I'll make my Elden Ring Tarnished in an app before the game comes out.
Why not?
Like, that's the type of shit that I'm really interested in. So, smart move. That's fun. That's dope. And like, you stare at that long enough, and and other people that are like, it's a free app, and you're kind of like, you know what, fuck it, maybe let me try this out. And you build a character, you spend some time on it, and you're like, yeah, let's do this. especially if it's in depth.
It's definitely pretty smart, but I don't think they'll ever hit the heights of. Did you play? Did you play all the way through Saints Row 3, or did you touch it?
No.
You just knew, you didn't heard about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the heights of Saints Row 3 are perfectly described by an old Giant Bombcast story in which there's a part in the game in which you attack a gangster at a sex club, and as you make your escape, the villain hops on a rickshaw that is being dragged by dudes in gimp outfits. And you're constantly shooting dudes in gimp outfits chasing after you with rickshaws. And you shoot them, and then they tip over, and then a second passes, and then they explode like regular cars. And it's really, really fucking funny.
But
good. More than that, one of the devs wrote in to Giant Bombcast like 4 or 5 years ago to describe that there was a long-running secret argument happening behind the scenes where people kept going into the build and switching the explosion toggle from 0 to 1 and back to 0 because no one could agree whether or not they should explode. And it just so happens that the version of the game that shipped had the fucking rickshaws explode.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
And that's Saints Row.
Yeah.
That's how fucking stupid Saints Row is.
Half the team couldn't agree on it. Jesus.
No, it's way funnier if they explode like regular cars. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's why it's way funnier.
That's not funny at all. That's stupid. No, that's the point.
Yeah, it is.
No. And then just code battle.
Hey, do you guys wanna license out Kanye West's Power for this incredible action sequence so that players at home will have a great time and anyone trying to make videos off of it will get that shit fucking killed off YouTube for trying to put it up because it's like 2014?
In fact, if I could even hyper specify in my summary, that moment in particular seems to be the one that people are chasing after, not just 3, but the power sequence.
Oh, it's a high mark. It's good.
Okay, so then anyway, moving along because we got to move along. They showed off Nightingale, which was a first-person fantasy survival game with the cards. And it's not the other.
You know what? This is a great time for me to ask if I could use the bathroom.
You just, you know what?
Go. Nightingale. Go okay,
ahead.
Cool.
No, but you want to be back for the next one because we're about to talk about Bloober Team. So.
Oh, cool. I'll be right back.
All right. All right.
Hey, I have a question. I've been hit by breaking news. Wooly, what the fuck is Juneteenth?
Juneteenth is a new holiday that celebrates June 19th, the day that basically black people learned in America that they were free.
Okay, so it would have been really bad for the color palette emblem for Halo Infinite that was going to be for Juneteenth to be named Bonobo, right? And then they stealthily
Uh,
changed it to the name Freedom like two
uh,
hours ago.
what? Excuse me?
I just sent you the Reddit link. I got people sending this to me and saying that they can confirm that this palette's name stealthily changed to Freedom a couple hours ago. Like,
Oh.
it hit the live build like
Oh.
that.
Oh. Oh no. Oh no no no. Oh boy. Yeah, that
What do you what do you what do you
mm,
what are you doing?
mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
like an entire dynamic just exploded in my head about the work on Halo Infinite, which is the phrase make sure you change it before it goes to the live build. Haha, whatever.
I just had to remind myself 3 times. I'm like, wait, Blizzard doesn't make Halo, right? Yes. Okay.
No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
That's
All right. Okay. All right.
343.
Yep. Okay. Okay. I mean,
Someone in the chat asks why is it named that in the first place? Really?
just hell of a bad coincidence is what we'll probably get a message saying in about an hour or two. Just real
Do you remember? Do you remember when Dead
unfortunate.
Island's non-final build leaked out and it was a jank piece of shit, but also all the skill names were like misogynist and racist?
I don't
Do you remember
remember
that?
that.
Oh,
No.
that yeah. Like one of the fucking skills for the girl with the gun was called feminist bitch, and it gave her like better aim with firearms.
Always good to have it right in the build so that when something goes wrong, because there's no like bugs don't exist. Things don't get left in games that are unintentional.
Yeah, yeah, no mistakes don't
So
happen.
always good to have it committed, gold mastered. You know, I mean, yeah, I don't know. As what can I say? I'm a fan, really, of the overt. I love it when it's overt. We don't need covert. Give me that overt shit. Loud, clear, underlined, highlighted, laser
More
pointers.
honest. It's more honest
Show
that
me
way.
all of it. I bathe in it. I love it so much.
This I
I
have to
don't
say
have to
though,
figure it out. I don't have to
we
pull out a
we have
magnifying glass.
we have gone through a lot of these versions of stories, and this might be the first one that I've seen like actively strike you in terms of shock.
You see, the thing is Juneteenth is relatively new, so a lot of people
Yeah.
don't know what it is. So I thought you were genuinely asking me what it was.
I have a general idea that it was a black holiday, so something to do with,
Yeah,
but
because
I wasn't
basically when the
super
slaves got
sure.
freed, they didn't tell them. So it's kind of celebrating the day that word caught caught wind and that they found out, essentially. But yeah, it's relatively new in America. So, as with any new holiday, there will be growing pains and stumbles, I suppose, as we figure out what the appropriate way to celebrate will be.
Yeah, that's a good way to.
But in the meantime, man, yes, just the big blunt bat. Don't get the needle out. I don't need no subtlety. As large and as blunt as possible, baby.
I can't wait for next week. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's super good.
You know, like,
oh,
I was just you know, just talking to Punch Bomb the other day about just like, you know, how good it, like, the excellence of the line "Welcome to Revachol," followed by the catch.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's so good, but it requires a trained ear to even notice to begin with. It requires someone to have been used to that, to be like, what the fuck was that, right? Because
it's a dog whistle.
Because for a lot of people, it's going to take a second. It's going to be like, whoa, Kim, calm down. What the fuck? What's your problem? You know, because you don't know. You're not aware of how that goes down, right? So, like, that the thing that Kim does at that moment that he's used to is exhausting. It sucks to have to magnifying glass the moment. So hit me with the biggest, brightest, most obvious version of it, and I love it every time because I don't have to work for it. You just spell it all out, baby. Oh yeah. Oh, that's great. That's wow. Good. Okay. Well, cool. On that note, this week Castle Super Beast is sponsored by Stitch Fix. So if you're out there trying to figure out how to get clothing that it looks good on you because you're having a hard time getting styles that are appropriate, and it's hard to shop and find out what works for you.
It's hard, man.
Not everyone's got a sense of style. Not everyone's got drip, you know? I was born with it. It's effortless, but I understand not everybody can be that way. So you got to work on it. But you can get help. Stitch Fix is out there. They can get you covered by basically giving you the option to try out a couple of articles of clothing that they send your way every month. You keep what you like. You send back what you don't. And you don't have to worry about the costs on shipping, returns. Exchanges are easy and free. They also have the ability to set up a shop that is, again, custom tailored to your styles. And all of that comes from creating a style profile when you answer some questions about what you like to wear, what you don't, and how open you are to trying up new styles. Once you fill out that test, they get some experts on the case. They'll, take a look. They'll give you the once-over, and then they'll figure it out. So yeah, trust in the experts to help you figure out your style. If you're struggling with it, they got it seasonal with the latest pieces for men, women, kids. Everybody can get in.
Even me?
Even you. Anyone. And if you have a Rumbleverse build, you too can get in on Stitch Fix. Sign up today at stitchfix.com/superbeast to get $20 off your first purchase. That's stitchfix.com/superbeast to get $20 off your first purchase. Limited time offer. Purchase within 2 days of sign up. Thanks, Stitch Fix.
Thanks, Stitch Fix.
The podcast is also sponsored this week by Bombas. We've talked about them before. They're in the sock business. They're in the industry of getting you comfortable socks that are seamless, tagless. They don't have any of the awful stitching and bad, weak points where the integrity of the sock falls apart.
It's kind of hilarious to me how granular in my evaluation of a sock I've become as an older man compared to me as a child who was like, whatever, socks are socks. It's like, no, man, there's a chasm between your average sock and a good sock.
And once you find a good pair, you're going to go through that sock drawer to find the pair that you want every time. It's got to stand the sweat. It's got to stand the the damp. It's got to be able to withstand whenever it's raining outside and your shoes aren't good enough. You know, you want that feeling when you can slide on the wood in your house.
Oh, I love that feeling.
Yeah, you know. So you need the good quality, and that's where Bombas is coming in. Everything they make is soft, seamless, tagless. It's got that cozy feel to it. And it's not just socks, too. They also got shirts and underwear, so you can stay comfortable all the way across your body. The socks are engineered to never fall down. Let your ankles be free as they soak up the sunlight. You got the t-shirts with design features, invisible seams, soft fabrics, and they hang just right. Breathable material, very important. Hate it when you gotta pull some low quality socks off and then like you can see your pale feet underneath starving for air.
Well, for me, the one it's like I know I'm wearing bad socks if I pull the socks off and there's a bunch of socks left in my flesh.
Yep. You got like
Don't want it.
An ankle ridge line going around this, the circumference, and it's just it's dying for oxygen. So none of that. Get your Bombas, and you get in the high quality socks. And of course, with every item you purchase from Bombas, they match with an equal donation to those in need. So everything you're getting is also helping people out. Through that service, they've managed to donate over 50 million items of essential clothing over the years. So go to bombas.com/superbeast to get 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/superbeast for 20% off. bombas.com/superbeast. Thank you, Bombas.
Thanks, Bombas.
And lastly, we've got the podcast this week sponsored by Honey, not the actual consumable bee-created resource.
Nah, man. It's sweet, though.
But in fact, the thing that saves you money. It is basically a way of finding that promo code box that shows up on every site that you go to shop on, and you know that you can, if you just knew the right combination of numbers and letters and sometimes even symbols, you could save some money. But they don't tell you, because fuck you, they just don't tell you, But Honey knows how to figure that out. It works on tons of different sites for tech, for commerce, food, clothing, whatever it is. Honey is plugged in, and essentially you click the button that says apply coupons once you're at checkout. It takes a few seconds. It finds the best coupons it can find for that site and applies it so that you save money. It doesn't just work on desktop, it also works on your iPhone, it works on Safari. You can save on the go as well. Pretty simple. So if you don't already have Honey, you could be missing out. And after getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid. Support the show. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/superbeast. That's joinhoney.com/superbeast. Thanks, Honey.
Thank you, Honey.
Okay. So that was good breaking news right there. I appreciate that. But we were
I've seen people say that the name has actually been changed again since it got changed to Freedom to Juneteenth.
Keep it simple. Just the name of the thing.
Also, I went and took a look over at Twitter in the period that we were doing the ad reads, and that news is blowing up.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
It's whoa.
Well,
it's gonna be fun next week.
Look, man, glass half full. Always look on the bright side. There's a lot of people that are not from America that have no idea what that word means. So it's, as a new holiday, it could use all the publicity it can get. So thank you, 343 and Halo, for probably teaching a whole lot of people in not America about Juneteenth.
You know
It's an
what I
awesome,
always do
awesome history lesson.
when this shit happens? I always have the fantasy of not the guy at 343, but the guy who's the liaison between Microsoft in general and 343. Just oh god damn it, and then beep
Yeah,
boop beep and making
yeah,
the call
yeah. Well,
and
then, yeah, followed by like, a couple of email threads and meetings to just and build tracing to be like, who actually named this at what
who
point,
was it?
why, you know.
So I think the absolute best thing that could happen out of this is that someone mentions that it's been in the system like that for months, and everyone is like, "Why is it like that?" And then the response is, "We'll change it for the live release. Don't worry." And it's like that doesn't answer why it is called that.
It'd be what would really be great is if they pushed the fix live and then they didn't tell anybody about it. Because the slaves were free, but nobody told them they were free.
I'm sorry. It took me a second.
That's okay. I gave it a moment.
It took me a second. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm not super familiar with the holiday. I'm learning a lot today.
We're all learning today. Put your hands up if you just learned about Juneteenth. Yeah.
Allowing me a learning experience.
Everybody.
But ironically, a lot of people going to learn about Juneteenth as a direct result of this. Like, straight up.
I'm Canadian. I'm not even American. Yeah. Anyways, Bloober team.
Oh, wow! That is a great segue!
So, Layers of Fears.
Okay, so first of all, that is a legitimately terrible name from a dev studio that has made a game called Layers of Fear and Layers of Fear 2.
Every time...
legit terrible.
Yeah, every time you read like a news story that's like, did you hear that the new Silent Hill might be made by Bloober team? It's like, oh,
second of all,
can't do anything about that at this point, I suppose.
Okay, Bloober team has definitely fallen off their spot as temporary indie darling horror people that they held for like a month. So there was all the stuff about the way trauma is treated in the medium that came out, but more damaging than that is a clip of, God, is it Germa playing it? Just playing one of the Layers of Fear game where it's just a ghost, like, ghosts running around inside visions or whatever, and just running into, like, a little baby ghost, like, running forehead first into a table and going, ah! And, like, laughing his shit off. And I'm like, yeah, no, these games are trash.
I mean...
Like, they're trash.
At some point, they were potentially going to be trusted with the Silent Hill franchise. Is that not correct?
I'm raising my hands. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well, yeah, Layers of Fear 3. Layers of Fears, adding the S to the sequel, still in effect. I don't know, man. I don't know anything about these games except for, like, y'all played them back during, your horror game stuff, and you didn't seem to
didn't super care for them.
Impressed. Yeah.
Oh, wow. More breaking news about
I had
the Halo thing.
Okay. All right.
Supposedly, the old Bungie internal string editing tool is called Bonobo. and it is possible that 343 still uses some of their tools, which means that that word would be a placeholder string for something that doesn't currently have a name.
There we go. Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it.
Which,
that makes sense.
If that is the case, this might be the most unfortunate gut punch ever.
Immensely unfortunate. Yep. Okay. Okay. Hey, I'll believe it. I'll believe it. If that's, I'll take that. That sweaty, nervous Guile explanation, you know, as you pull the tie. I'll take it. I'll take it. Sure. All placeholder things are called bonobos. All right.
So I have a actual Reddit thread from somebody who used to work at Bungie who describes this. One time when I was at Bungie, I had to change the word PlayStation to PlayStation everywhere, and it appeared in-game to comply with brand rules. Our tools for writing in the game were Excel and an in-house string tool called Bonobo. But the problem with Bonobo is that it would only save your changes if it thought you had made changes. And it didn't recognize case changes like lowercase s to uppercase s. So you couldn't change PlayStation lowercase to PlayStation uppercase and save it. Therefore, I ended up changing every appearance of PlayStation to PlayStation I love Shiba Inus and saving that, then deleting the phrase I love Shiba Inus and save that, then committing the changes to repository. Only the next day, I get a bug report that says the game is saying, please connect the PlayStation I love Shiba Inus controller because I had forgotten to delete it.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, that gets to the bottom of that.
Maybe.
Doesn't explain why the placeholder text for guns was just listed as coons, however, but...
Hey, what are you gonna do? We gotta put something. There's only so many words.
Placeholder texts. What do you? You know.
Well, you see,
percentage underscore.
You see, what happened there is that the person in charge of the gun physics and sound, the person who would be handling the kind of database entries, you see, they're from the country where they would often go out hunting with their bloodhounds. And so, since their bloodhounds died, much like in the story Between Two Ferns, no, that's the Zach Galifianakis.
That's the Zach
Underneath the Red Fern.
Sure.
Under the Red Fern.
Go with it.
They decided they wanted to make a tribute to their friendly dogs who died in a gunfight with a mountain lion.
Yep, there you go. There you go. Right? Now,
wow, it's easy.
Yeah.
You just make it up and then
no problem.
It's done.
Yeah. No, the med kits were called strange fruit because that would heal you. And it was tasty, but it was like a weird shaped fruit. So you would be like, oh, it's not an orange. It's like a big white box. So I just thought it was a strange, that works. Yeah. Placeholder text. All right. All right. There you go. We're learning a little bit more than Juneteenth today, folks. Yeah. If you need to Google that one.
Is it?
Learn a thing or
isn't
two.
learning fun?
Learning is fun. Learning is very fun. Yep.
Learning can be emotional. It could be exciting. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Legitimate. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about with that. I'm literally going to look it up in a second as you go to the next game. I don't know what it is.
You know what? Let's take a pause. Look it up.
Oh!
Got it? We all there now?
This reminds me of you and I freaking out Satch with that wind chimes shit.
There you go. We're
There you
all
go.
up to speed. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Dude, there's vectors. You don't understand.
Yeah, there's all sorts of shit.
There's vectors to the hatred, man. People don't know
There
how
is a certain level of creativity
unbelievably
present.
crazy it gets when you go digging. Like unfathomably crazy. And it never, ever fucking stops. And if you look into it, you just keep digging until you're like, yep, I've hit my limit. I can't go any further. Like, there's shit where I'm like, I never heard that my entire life, and I just found out.
Sorry.
Oh no, I mean, you got the understanding of like, oh yeah, roots will teach you a thing or two, Kunta Kinte, all that stuff. And then you'll come across an article where it's just like, hey, did you know that like there were dudes who like wore leather shoes that were made out of dead slaves? Just shoes made out of people? That was a thing.
That's a new one for me today.
That's new tech you didn't know about. The hatred is crazy. I learned about that while in the middle of finding out that there was a time when if you were a prisoner in the old days in certain states, they'd put if a woman was arrested, they'd be put in jail with the rest of the men, and then they'd get pregnant, and then any kid born in jail was automatically state property, and then the kid that was born as state property was automatically then sold to raise money that was then put into a program to fund the education system for white schools in those states.
Wait, are you telling me that the Batman villain Bane's backstory is actually stolen from real racism?
Real shit.
So I had a moment last week where over a 2-day period, every single concept or cultural thing that I looked up the history of, and I went back far enough for like 2-3 days, was just like, oh, it's racism.
Mm-hmm.
Again.
Like, it's so unbelievably, unfathomably, insanely dehumanizing at times that you just mentally check out, which is why so much of like, from what I understand, like American education system is just like, yeah, we're just gonna let's just not even get into that, because how do you process that? What grade is the right grade to teach kids that other people used to be worn as shoes, man? I don't know. Apparently the answer is let's just not, but like, it's fucking insane.
There's a really interesting one out here where when you go out in BEC, if you go to some nice restaurant, it'll on the little bottom or a hotel or something, it'll say, "We acknowledge that we are built on the unceded lands of such and such native community." And I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Land acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then I'm scrolling through TikTok, and because I'm in BC, I'm getting BC TikTok, and I get to a native lady who is reading one of these fucking things. She says, okay, yeah, cool. Pay us though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's nice. How about you fucking pay us though?
So that was a sign up in a restaurant?
Oh no, those are all over the place. You see them on all sorts of signs out here.
Oh, okay.
Just like this hotel, this store, this thing.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, we acknowledge that we took it.
Because I can if I can drop a third one on you,
yeah, heavy, fuck it.
Yeah, so there's sometimes if you go south enough, you'll see signs up of like, you know, old timey stuff with the, you know, the old pickaninnies and the watermelons and all that jazz, and then and every once and you might see a sign that will be confusing initially because it's like an old timey thing is it says alligator bait, and it's a picture of a baby, black baby, and then an alligator behind it. And the baby's usually crawling away from the alligator, and it's like, what the fuck is that even? It's like, oh, that's the thing that used to happen when they would like hunt alligators, and what they'd do is they'd go get like a slave mother and be like, hey, like, we'll actually give you something if you give us your baby, and we can use it as bait, and then the alligator will come out and try to chase it, and then we'll shoot the alligator before it gets to the baby. And like, that was a fun old activity, and it was such an old recognizable pastime that we made like signs of it and put them up in the little shops, and it's like, oh, remember that? Yeah, those were the good old days.
There's a fucking guy out. I got one for you that I just recently learned about. There was a guy out in fucking Saskatchewan who accidentally drove his car into a crowd of Native folks that were protesting by doing a march next to a former residential school.
Sure.
And it was an accident. He was an impatient driver. He just wanted to get to where he was going, except for the part where like 20 or 30 people says right before he did it, he leaned out the window and screamed, "Get over it."
Sick.
Turned himself in. Currently no charges, because it's Saskatchewan.
Yeah. Nice. Anyway, folks, let's learn. Learning is fun.
I tell you what, being ignorant of a bunch of this shit rules. Oh man, it's super good.
We got him for days.
Every time I find out, it's like a downer.
Oh, we got him for days, baby. I don't mind dropping that shit one after the other because nobody fucking knows about them, and they're batshit. It's a batshit hole to go down, you know? But hey.
And I always have this feeling when people are going to watch these clips later, because I am laughing my ass off. I don't know what to do with it, because it's fucking... it's absurd.
It's absurd. It's absurd. It's absolutely...
Like, it's fucking clown shoes silly.
It is, like, storybook villainous shit that really happened, and it's so insane that we just can't tell any... Like, we can't talk about it, because it's too insane. But it's super sourceable and real, and you could look this shit up. You know? Someone dropped an obviously not true over there a second ago. I implore you, go look those things up. Find what I'm talking about. It is unbelievable, but you know. Video games.
All right, back to lame ass video games. What do we got?
Video games. That's a patented trademark.
What do we got?
Patented trademark Castle Super Beast tangent for you.
Video, yeah, oh yeah.
All right, well, The Last of Us Part 1.
Fucking, this was the slap of who fucking cares, the strongest I have seen of anything in many years.
The side-by-side does look better as a remake.
When you do that.
But... was remaster was PS4, right? So it was like, yeah, okay. So it wasn't a matter of
play
like,
it on PS5 and it runs perfect.
And it would have been fine. Yeah, okay.
It is, especially considering we're going to be talking about the Resident Evil 4 thing in a bit. Like, first of all, they're charging absolutely top shelf full price for it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. Because I was gonna say, like, I ultimately like I still am like, yo, I liked Last of Us 1. I enjoyed that, and like a version of it that looks better. I don't hate that. I don't have any problem anything to be angry about that. Shouldn't be full price probably though. That seems well. Hold on. How much was Demon's Souls? That was full price, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Demon Souls a large jump from this.
Hmm.
Also, I'm seeing people say that it doesn't have the multiplayer. If that's true, that's
Oh,
fucking crazy.
if it has less, then no. Yeah, no, you can't do that. Not when it's a remake and it's missing shit. Um, but anyway, yeah, I think I saw some of the side by sides that I saw looked like like the lighting looked better, but like the faces were different, and
Yeah,
yeah, I'm like, like prefer the old face a bit, but whatever. It's
fine.
it's like
Totally pointless.
meh,
Totally pointless.
not a big deal either way. Um, and that was that. Yeah, and then just rounding us out here, Capcom did a Capcom
Hey,
event.
there's some good goddamn news.
So a couple more seconds of RE4 gameplay.
That was hilarious.
Not a gameplay trailer,
They
unfortunately.
showed Leon walking like 5 feet.
What is the holdup with showing the attache case? I don't get it. Like,
Oh,
fucking show
they're
it.
not showing much in general. They're gonna have
Show the goddamn pause screen, you cowards. I want to see it. God damn it.
they're gonna drip feed that like crazy.
Ah. Show me the
That being
bonus
said,
feature that is the attache case mini game that you've also made. That'll be fun.
so yeah, I guess with what we saw of RE4, it looked good. It also got announced this week, which I feel like doesn't even generate any news because, yeah, did.
Um, then there's all that village stuff, including third person mode coming to.
Legitimately very surprising that they are going to have a third person mode added to that game.
Now, I don't know how the game flows, but I hope that it doesn't feel unintended.
I bet that's going to play way better.
Huh. Now, they mentioned that, like, they're still keeping his face obscured and having him turn away from the camera. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Like, Ethan's
it's
face is
totally a
like.
thing. He is weirdly obsessed with not looking at mirrors and when you see him in a full cutscene, you don't see his face.
It's weird because it's like it's not like in the trailer, at least it's not like you're trying to pretend, oh, this is an any player per character. He has a
That
head and a
is what
jaw
they are pretending
and
because
hair.
of the VR stuff.
Sure, but like again,
Yeah,
the shot they
yeah,
show
I know.
you can see the side of his face. It's clearly there.
No, shh. Oh, dude, people hacked out his fucking whole model out in Resident Evil 7 like the second day. It's just one of those weird things.
Oh, okay, all right. Um, then yeah, and you know whatever reverse stuff. And then 2 make, 3 make, and 7 getting upgrades for PS5 and Series X if you have them. Always.
And PC for free.
Yeah, that's always nice. Always nice to be like give you the free update on that. Wished you would have done that with that
DMC.
DMC5
Yeah.
situation back then, but
So I played RE2 when that thing came out yesterday with the ray tracing and the new features. It runs better and it looks better. However, I am being told that if you don't have Windows 10, because they forced all the effects over to DirectX 12, apparently it can be they may have broken it on your computer depending on what version of Windows you're running.
here's an important question. Does it install a second game or does it replace
it
the
replaces
existing
it.
one?
In fact, it actually says on Steam that if you want to keep it as the old version, you have to put the game in offline mode and never boot it when it's online, and that the
Fuck.
old version of the game no longer exists.
That's the worst way to do that. That sucks. Okay.
But my personal experience is that it runs better and it looks better, and it good. But Obviously,
You're
mileage
all
may vary depending on your
yeah,
particular
and I
setup.
mean, and I imagine it goes without saying you're losing your save file on that too.
No, absolutely not.
Oh no, okay,
Yeah, no, I kept my saves.
all right. Um, then they showed off that Sunbreak stuff. I
Gore Magala!
yeah,
Woo!
I couldn't say much, but I mean, seems like there's a bunch of returning monsters there.
Gore Magala is a monster that hasn't been back since Monster Hunter 4U and is very popular, but is been weirdly absent. Um, People love Gore Magala a lot, and they're thrilled to see him back. The reason why is because he's got a weird mechanic that's unique to only him, so it can be a bit of a pain to put him back in. They also dragged over a monster from Frontier, which is that weird, shitty MMO that
Mm.
they had, which means that that whole fucking roster is now open for consideration.
Were there exclusive things on that?
Yeah, there were tons. There were tons and tons and tons.
Okay, so there's even more to pull
But there
from.
was but there was never any crossover.
Okay. Um. Yeah. So they had all the Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak expansion details. And then Exoprimal, and that was it really. Um.
Well, we briefly mentioned it earlier, but I do have to take special mention of Itsuno walking out and going, "Wow, do you motherfuckers love Dragon's Dogma? Me too." And then just walking away.
Yep. Yep.
Like what? Like
10 long
everyone
years.
knows that
10 years. Like 10 years we've been together, babe. 10 years.
that game's existence is an open secret, and yet they just refuse to announce it.
Damn, that's like walking in the door and being like, "Oh, I what? No, I didn't forget. Uh, what did I get you? This Subway sandwich right here. Of
I know
course,
you love it.
with the cookies and everything.
Yeah, don't you like the cookies?
Good times. Um, how about this metric, right? The fancier the anniversary logo, the more they care.
I mean, they said they're doing a Dragon's Dogma 10th anniversary stream in a couple days, and I fully expect them to also do nothing.
Hmm.
They're gonna be like, "Do you remember?" They're gonna like put out a video, and it's like memories of Dragon's Dogma, and
Memories.
most of it's gonna be Dragon's Dogma Online, which only released in Japan and is dead.
How about an announcement for more Netflix?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you
Oh
go.
no, they showed some of that during that thing. They showed like, wow, we've had so many good memories with the Dragon's Dogma franchise, and then they would show the fucking the fucking whatever the
Yeah.
anime.
All right.
That's the highest to lowest I've been at like watching one of these things in a while.
Yeah. I didn't realize until today that the sentiment that the audience has been trying to give was, let us rot away together. We want you to come and rot with us. Just
Dragon's Dogma fans and SilkSong people, and I'm sure there's others that I'm forgetting. Just like, let's go all into the pit and die.
just go and die together. Hold hands.
Oh, this is good, isn't it?
How about some letters?
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, send it in to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. While Wooly manages to find up a new letter, I am going to mention one small detail that we didn't cover, which is that Microsoft is going to add Riot's entire free-to-play catalog to Game Pass, where you get all their free shit. You get every hero in League of Legends and every fucking operator and in Valorant and every single fucking thing in all those games. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And
People are gonna buy that.
plus everything mentioned under the Xbox section earlier was also announced as a like coming to Game Pass or first on Game
Yeah.
Pass thing. So that dollar continues to stretch,
Yep.
which is if what you're saying about the new PSN is
Oh, it's dog
is what
shit.
it is, like what a perfect time to make Game Pass better. All right. Let's see here. Here is one coming in from Chatterbox, who says,
Hi, Chatterbox. What up, bro?
to Patrick, people who complain about launch Street Fighter V are babies, Boyvin, and Wooly, no one cares about World Cup, Madden.
I'm sure we actually unironically said these things.
Allow me to update. No one should care about World Cup, Chatterbox. Very simply.
I will also update that I think everyone is a baby except for me, but I am a large baby.
Very simply, what is the best sidearm in any game you've played or media you've seen, and why is it the fully upgraded Silver Baller from Hitman Blood Money? That's a good contender. That's a good contender. This includes pistols, revolvers, handheld shotties, sawed-offs, laser pistols, plasma, etc. That's a solid one, man. Blood Money's.
Can I throw the Siphon Filter 1 taser in there?
Okay, fine, no problem. My definitive all-time underlined with a bullet is fucking Smart Pistol, because holy shit, was that the coolest shit ever in Titanfall 1, and then I'm waiting for it, and when it finally reveals itself in Titanfall 2, it's the fucking thing. It's the climax. It's the sear kit. They know how hype that shit was, and they drop it on you when you want it the most. The Smart Pistol from Titanfall. Absolutely.
I have a couple that I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the fucking plasma cutter from Dead Space 1 and 2.
You've talked about it a lot.
It's a pistol that is so good that both games have achievements for getting through the entire game using just it, and it is not a problem. Like, people would do pistol knife runs with Resident Evil games, and that would be a challenge. Not with the fucking plasma cutter.
Okay.
That thing is legitimately, unbelievably incredible.
Ooh, the Red 9. Ooh, the Red 9.
Oh, I love the Red 9 so much.
Ooh, the Red 9 is a good one. Red 9's a good one. Yeah.
And it may not be the best, but I really love the gun Crimson from D2. It is a hand cannon that fires in a 3-round burst, and if you kill someone with a headshot, you get health regeneration.
Damn.
I just like the way it feels.
This is not at all a sidearm, but if you go back and watch me play Halo 2, you can see the moment I fall in love with the battle rifle for the first time.
That's not a sidearm!
At all. But I don't fall in love with guns, usually. But that was just a mechanical and pleasant experience to shoot, that I was hit with quality when I fired that, and it felt real good enough that even a fucking gun pleb like me could acknowledge and feel, yeah, I like using this. It is satisfactory. But it technically doesn't count. But then again, he said sawed-off shotguns count, so fucking, I don't know.
Hey, I actually have follow-up to our earlier breaking news. I was just linked to Bungie.net's Destiny error code, in which Destiny uses animal names for error codes, and there's absolutely a turn the game off, turn your console off, and relaunch it error code, which is Bonobo.
Okay, there it is. So if anything, it's just them like not having unique enough code.
It is the most unfortunate sequence of events possible.
Okay.
Oh man, somebody's having a bad day at the office. Oh man.
Placeholder text is usually a C-class bug when entered into the database in QA. context can upgrade things to S. And that, my friend, is what you call a contextual update of a bug severity to S class. One shot. There you go.
I fucking love breaking news so much. Oh,
It's good.
it's always so good.
It's good. Okay, here's one coming in from Adesoji. Says, "Dear Wooly and Pat, what are some of the least impressive fictional feats you can think of? One that comes to mind for me is Kenichi in The Mightiest Disciple. It's a world where Kenichi's masters are basically martial arts superheroes that can kill bears with their aura. I can't stop thinking about Kenichi's friend Nijima, who is capable of making perfect 90-degree turns at a moment's notice. This lets him escape one of the masters, who's essentially a kunoichi that can defeat a crowd of trained fighters with nothing but a rice paddy. What are some of the least impressive fictional feats you can think of?"
I'm gonna go. The first one that dropped to mind is Saitama's workout routine.
There's that, but the results are unbelievable. I thought of that. I considered One Punch Man, but the results are there. So if anything, it's not. It does. I wouldn't say that applies. It's not quite a feat so much as it is the entire character, but even this gets like twisted at a point. But I guess I've talked about before. There's a character that joins the X-Men at some point, who's South African, and his name is Maggot, and his powers are that, well, initially he just has a stomach ache for a real long time and like can't really do much, and then discovers through Magneto that he has no stomach. He has two maggots that are indestructible, and they have to leave his body to go eat anything and then come back to him and burrow their way in, and that's how he digests food, and that's his power.
That's great.
And it's like,
that's great.
It's the weirdest shit ever, and like it gets used contextually to like, oh, go eat that bomb and now everyone's safe because it's an indestructible maggot.
Yeah.
But in terms of just like, it's super weird, but you're like, yeah, but why is every mutant power gonna be angel wings and fire blasts? It's not always gonna be cool shit. Sometimes your fucking stomach is maggots. You don't control it, it's random. So things like that,
you're just like really hairy.
Yeah. So things like that, I'm like, cool. I'm down with the weird mutants that are like not necessarily, getting fucking front page cover shit. That's my answer.
Can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Fuck. Wait. Mm-hmm. No, it's gone. It's gone. I tried.
All right. Here's one coming in from Steven. Says, hello, BC Boy and Mayor of Maddentown. Was playing Elden Ring recently. Discovered something I can't find anyone talking about. You can backstep in any direction. If you're holding neutral and input backstep, you have a couple frames after the input to change your direction. It won't reflect in your character's position, but they'll perform the backstep animation in the opposite of the direction you move the stick. If you tap it to the left, they'll sidestep right, and so on. Now, obviously, this isn't practical, except to style over enemies, but it begs the question, what's your favorite piece of tech that you've discovered on your own? That is a thing, because it's pretty much the backstep equivalent of swinging a greatsword around.
Yeah.
It's just manual aiming with
my favorite secret tech that I learned in a video game was that when you're playing Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and you get onto those barrels, you can actually move them when you're standing on them by pressing up or down. A lot of people don't know that.
Wow. Pioneer.
Because they're morons.
It's not really a particular instance of like tech, but overall, I liked the emergent footsies that I established in Silent Hill. That was very satisfying to learn how to bob and weave with the bosses on a control system that's meant to be punishing for attempting to do so.
Were you using 2D controls?
Yeah, this was Silent Hill 1.
Oh, Silent Hill 1?
Yeah. I was backstepping and using the axe and just fucking dancing.
Yeah, that game had weirdly detailed movement controls.
It was great.
It had the L1 and R1 for like sidestepping was super, super weird and like
That
never ever came back.
that roof moth, which clearly was meant to be shot at, I just fucking meleeed it.
Wait, you hit it?
Oh yeah, clean.
Good for you.
I fucking sidestepped and dodged and backstepped on every one of its bites, and then just
you're right. You're supposed to shoot that.
You're supposed to shoot
but
it.
Hey, man,
Footsies.
Good for you.
And last one over here. Noah says, "Why do people like precise timing? What is the appeal of frame perfect timing in games? As these increase in precision, my anxiety and frustration only grows. I feel the hair standing on the back of my neck. How are Royal Guard, ESEN, and Lynx any different from QTEs without button JPEGs on the screen? No matter how many I've played, it's never clicked on some universally satisfying level. I've been playing Onimusha 2 on my PS2 recently. I've been struggling to understand the appeal of the ESEN mechanic. At first, it presents a fun and satisfying way to dispatch enemies, but as enemies become more difficult, the timing becomes tighter, and the battles become a guessing game of which fraction of a second is the correct one to press square. I ignore most of the other mechanics because despite the frustration, ESEN feels like the intended way to master these encounters."
Okay, so as somebody who went through all the Onimusha games, ESEN is not the intended way to go through most encounters. ESEN is a substantially more difficult risk-reward scenario that is put in there to encourage mastery of certain enemy types.
I was going to say, I only played one, but yeah, that's the impression.
In 2, it gets significantly more powerful, but it's still a huge risk-reward. The reason why people gravitate towards these kinds of systems is a measure of a mental state called flow, which is not necessarily specific to video games. It actually refers to almost any task that has a certain level of difficulty. In the bar graph that is rising difficulty versus rising competence, there's a perfect sweet spot engaged in which you feel what is called a sense of flow, in which you are perfectly being matched by your task, and flow feels good, and it actually helps you perform much better. Games tend to have a problem with this because the difficulty that leads to me being in flow with any particular encounter is not the same as, say, for Wooly. If we're talking about Onimusha, right? I played all those games so I would get into flow more easily in Onimusha 3, but Wooly, you only played the first one once, right? Mm-hmm. So you would have a harder time compared to another person who maybe isn't quite as familiar with action games.
Max
would find acting. Would find it much more difficult to get into a sense of flow. And comparing to people who have played every Onimusha game till they fucking die, they can't get into flow because it can no longer rise to the level of challenge required, which is why people like that actually tend to gravitate towards stuff like rhythm games because they need more precise to get that same rush.
Now, flow is an interesting variable to introduce into the equation here. That's a great explanation. I like that a lot. That is, and what you didn't mention there, but it feels really good to get into that state.
Yeah, it's pleasant. Flow is pleasurable, and mastery feels satisfying.
So, that's satisfactory. What I'll do is I'll go the opposite direction on that and answer the other side of the question, which is, what is the difference between what we're seeing in these high precision moments versus a glorified QTE sequence? And I'd say that if you really want to think about it, if you break a game down far enough, just about everything that it asks you to do could be considered a QTE sequence if you drag it out far enough. If you're playing Mario 1 and you have to jump over a pit in that first stage in 1-1, there's a point at which jumping will result in failure, and then there's a range at which jumping will result in success. And that can be a very slow, very deliberate, as the screen moves at your own walking forward pace, QTE sequence. The idea of timing in games is something that just can get more and more demanding as time goes on. But in that idea in and of itself, that like it's just without the button prompt or so, is something that you're being asked to do in games all the time, usually by the more advanced levels. I mean, the dragon, or not the dragon, the blocks that appear when you're fighting the dragon in Mega Man 2 are asking you to react very, very quickly, that in a way that is comparable to kind of some of the features you're describing there. It all fits into the state of like, not this, it all fits into the same idea of like, it is a rewarding feeling upon mastering that. It is a rewarding feeling upon getting it for the first time. And not, it is understandable that not everybody is going to have that, but I think that any challenge that requires any kind of timing whatsoever can fit into what you described as like a type of QTE. It's just, that is what games are kind of asking you to do when there is a moment where something fails and then that window goes away.
So, if you are having kind of a difficulty parsing either the gut intuitiveness of either of the things me and Wooly are talking about, I think you would agree that the easiest way to see it is there are two games that I think of right off the top of my head that perfectly encapsulate a feeling of flow. The first of which is Devil May Cry. Pick a good one. There are many. They have a fucking meter on the screen that might as well just say level of flow. And the second of which is your classic Tony Hawk games, in which it is about reaching like this perfect in-between state of the difficulty of what you're pushing to do and the music and all these things. It's a nice state. People are also saying Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal, and a recent entry into this would be Sifu.
Yeah, Sifu, absolutely.
It's a wonderful feeling that not every game asks of you and not every game can offer. But when you do experience it, you're like, oh, I like this. I'd like to experience that again. And yeah, I think that kind of explains why those games are designed that way. Yes, it can be considered reductive to like look at to say everything is a glorified QTE. That's not a incorrect statement. But
I mean, that's the same kind of logic that people look at every single video game that uses positive reinforcement and go, that's just a fucking Skinner box.
Right. But human beings are different, so again, it's absolutely not going to hit everybody the same way. The other thing too, of course, is if all of that has to mesh with a personality style, I suppose, or a temperament that is that has a larger threshold for failure, you know, or rather has developed a larger threshold for failure, because I don't want to imply that you're either patient or impatient and that's the way you are. It's more as if you've done this activity and kind of like you've learned what it is, I suppose, to try the same activity again a second time, a third time, a fourth time, and you know, get that reward. It's funny because I actually tried out Bennett Foddy a little bit, and I like how it starts out by saying to you, hey, if you're kind of having a bad day or just not in the mood to really, you know, kind of deal with rough feelings right now, maybe come back and try this another time. You know, and that's pretty, like, I'm like, that's a pretty honest ass thing to say, you know. And then I played it for a bit and I was like, oh yeah, this is absolute rage bait as a game.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, and you can't ask everybody to go that far. You can't ask everybody to you know, experience that. It's just it is absolutely going to be something that not everybody enjoys. However, you don't have to make it so that it's binary and that the only way to experience the game is just that or not at all. Some games do, but you also have games where they allow you to achieve that at like peak design flow as intended, but you can still succeed by achieving brief moments of flow enough to beat a boss and get to the next level,
Yeah.
and asking people to do that is a more reasonable ask and can oftentimes entice them to try getting to try challenging themselves to get into the flow state more often.
It reminds me, and if anybody who's watching the live broadcast can hit me with the name of the YouTuber who put up this video, it reminds me of a term that you have used about FF14 being the FGC retirement home.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman put up a video trying to discover, like, legitimately what the fuck is up with that. Like, why is that so common? And the hypothesis that he went with is that there's two genres that fighting game players tend to gravitate towards when they tone down fighting games. One is kind of FF14 by itself, and the other is rhythm games.
Yeah.
And the explanation that is, people are saying it is Matt from Bellular Gaming.
Okay.
Bellular Gaming. And basically, he equates banging out your rotation in FF14 specifically to a rhythm game.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you hit those inputs feels good the way that a rhythm game would. And I would agree with that. Which makes sense that fighting game players who are getting a little bit older to be like at the bleeding fucking edge of competition, but still like the feeling of learning like physical dexterity mastery of tasks, are going to kind of gravitate towards these things. Because as their competence decreases, they need something more laid back to hit that level of flow.
And the best example of that is Desk, who makes combo videos that are musical, and Desk plays music and makes music and plays fighting games and blends the two and shows the rhythm of like how a combo can be musical and can resemble the same tasks that would be asked of you in a rhythm game. Doing a long Marvel combo sequence can absolutely rival an extended sequence in a Beatmania game with what you're doing with your hands, and then once you get better at it, you get more precise with it, you get better timings down, it absolutely appeals to the same centers of the brain that are getting pleasure in the fighting game. And when you're done with, and if you move on to another genre and you find that genre gives you those same little like, ooh, I like that feeling, then you're gonna be attracted and gravitate towards that. I hope that answers your question satisfactorily, Noah. All right.
Everybody, be safe out there.
Take it easy.
Don't leave placeholder text in ways that be embarrassing.
Happy soon to be Juneteenth.
Yeah, happy Juneteenth, everybody. Bye.